I'm just gonna start calling, see what happens.
All right.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Starting up.
Hello?
Joe's Bar and Grill, South speaking. Can I help you?
Huh?
Joe's Bar and Grill, South speaking. Can I help you?
No, you don't call someone and say, ask them if you can help them.
Do you want something to eat from my restaurant or not?
Nope.
Oh, just kidding.
What is
I
Joe's
actually
Bar
just had
and
an
Grill?
amazing steak salad.
You could have at least went with like Menace and the Man food truck or Menace and the Man grill or something. You went with Joe's
Well,
Grill.
no, that's my generic.
Joe's Grill.
Anytime someone calls me, Joe's Bar and Grill, this is Sal speaking.
Oh, you've done that to people before?
Hang on, every time I answer the phone.
But that's a problem. When you answer the phone, it's different than if you call someone.
Yeah, you right. Yeah, you right.
I'm just saying.
I feel like that was a failed prank phone call there by Dennis.
Yeah, I was trying to be funny.
But what's
Sorry.
going on? Welcome, Ashley Yoder, to Menace and the Man. How are you today?
Woo!
Hi, I'm great. How about you guys?
I'm well. I am Stan the Man, joined by Dennis the Menace Bermudez.
Yeah, that's me.
How's things? We interrupted your training, or we caught you before training?
I'm not training. I'm actually teaching a couple of fitness classes and doing a personal training session. So I'm like started back to work this week and full course all in. So.
Did you take any time off after that fight?
Yeah, I took I took a week off. I was in Denver for 3 weeks of my camp, so I've been gone for almost a month. But when I came back, hadn't seen my dogs, so I just kind of took the week off to decompress, like take them on some journeys and just have fun for a little bit. So.
Oh yeah, you came off that nice win off of Ashley or Amanda Bobby Cooper.
She was jacked, right?
Yeah, she is jacked. Yeah, we were on the show together, so like we were cool until she started talking smack about me in the interview, I guess. And I didn't know this until after the fact. So
Yeah, she's big.
But-
She's fought at 125, I think, before too. She's a
Yeah,
big girl.
yeah. She actually fought, I think, Aspen Ladd not right before we went on the show, but that was her most recent before we got on Ultimate Fighter.
She missed weight, no?
Did she miss weight?
Yeah, fighting
No,
him?
but I actually didn't know this until just yesterday that I guess she almost didn't make weight. So.
Then that was it.
Yeah, because I saw her as I was walking in. I was like one of the first people to weigh in, and I knew she looked like she might have had a rough weight cut. So and then someone said, I don't think she made weight, but then I guess she did. So.
Now I know you're not supposed to ask a lady her weight, but how much weight do you cut to make the weight class? I'm not gonna, right? I'm not asking her actual weight, but what's the weight cut like for you?
Well, it's not bad. My last, actually, I got diagnosed like at the beginning of, it's probably been about a year now, over a year. I got diagnosed with hypothyroidism. So they put me on like a all natural like supplement, and it's kept my weight under 130. So I just actually checked my weight yesterday. I was 127, and that's a week of straight binging donuts, fried food. I have cankles right now. You follow me on Instagram, you can see the pictures. They're like, is that from the fight? I'm like, no, I ate too much, I think.
Oh, when the socks leave like a really bad indentation on your leg, and you're like, man, am I like the fattest person alive right now? Or
and I wonder why my metabolism gave up on me. Probably because of something to do with that. But as a fighter, we stress our bodies out. But I always give myself at least a week to do whatever I want, since I'm pretty strict during my camps, and I really haven't got above 130. So I stay at this fight camp. My last 2 cuts, I woke up at 115. So they've been easy cuts.
So just a 15-pound cut for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm at 130, but I pretty much walked around at 125 this camp. So 130 is pushing it, But yeah, so it was a pretty easy cut. I actually weighed in at 120 fight week, so.
Dennis is cutting 30, 40, right?
Yeah, 30.
30?
Easy, Stan.
That's a lot.
That's a good amount of weight. I'm just
40.
saying. She's cutting 15.
I've had rough weight cuts where I've had to cut as an amateur one time I cut 13 pounds in one day. So
wow.
I know that whole
Well, wrestlers cut crazy amount of weight in a day. I'm sure Dennis has cut 10 pounds in a day.
Mm-hmm.
Many times.
Yeah.
Many times over.
Probably too many times. I don't think that's good for you.
No, it's not good. I think that the weight class is,
Definitely not good for you.
But it makes you tougher.
that's not bad, though. I think a 15-pound weight cut isn't that bad. I think that's more the appropriate weight. She's probably, feeling good when she gets in the cage, and the weight cut's not really taken out.
No, she's talking about 10 pounds in one.
Yeah, I know she's saying that. I'm talking about even that she cuts 15 pounds in general. That's probably the ideal amount of weight you
over
want to
2
cut.
months, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's gold.
Yeah, because you're dieting. It's not. And then at the end, just water loading that last week is, it's easy, especially if you do like no sodium the week of. It's really easy. It just comes off easy. So.
Now, have you always trained at Team Quest out there?
Yeah, so I started my career with Team Quest. I had 4 amateur fights before I moved to California when I was in Indiana. While I was in college, I kind of just took a couple of fights. I had anger management issues. I didn't really know what I was doing. So I did train at a little rinky-dink garage gym. And I kind of just knew how to ground and pound and do an armbar from mount. I had no takedowns. I didn't know anything. I didn't know about weight classes, weight cuts, anything. So my 4 fights were just pure out of it was almost like a street fight locked in a cage with gloves on and someone watching you. But other than that, when I came to Quest is when I started learning the different disciplines and really just focusing on actually becoming a legit fighter. So
anger management classes. Can we expand on this?
Yeah, my story is pretty much out there. When you're an Ultimate Fighter, they put all your business out there. So I lost my brother when I was 18. Actually, that was part of this camp being really rough for me. This time of year is really, really hard because I lost my brother when I was on my 18th birthday, which was the day I got to Denver. And then my little cousin passed away November 11th, so less than a month. It's just it was a rough it's a rough time of the year for me. So being able to fight and, be focused on something else was a huge accomplishment for me. So, but yeah, so I had a lot of built up aggression for a while because I didn't think you go through a tragedy. You don't really understand that other people go through tragedies at that time. You just kind of I will admit it, I was, selfish. No one understands where I'm coming from. And after, fighting and being on the show, it was such a blessing because, I wouldn't be a fighter if that didn't happen in my life. I was never in a street fight. I was a swimmer, cheerleader, and then afterwards, you go on the show and people hear your story, and then people from every part of the world, were messaging me, telling me their stories, and it's just kind of it's kind of nice to be able to give back in a different way, that you wouldn't normally expect, giving people hope or, just push through whatever you got to do. So.
Yeah, I was thinking that was going to go into a funnier realm, but it got really dark
I'm
real quick,
sorry.
and I was like, all right. Well,
sorry,
I'm still, no, that's your story. I think it's important.
It got really dark.
It isn't.
I've been there as well. I lost the only person I would ever call probably my brother. Probably I lost him December of 2 years ago. So yeah, it's very rough when something like that happens. But it's awesome that you're able to use it as fuel when you get in the cage and you're able to carry it on, in a good way, a positive way.
And that's where I want the message to come out. I don't want people to be sympathetic for my losses. I want to give people that don't believe in themselves or, especially me, I'm the most clumsy, unathletic person you'll ever meet, and somehow I'm in the UFC. If I can make it, anybody can make it. So it's just hard work, people telling you no all the time, doors shutting in your face, and just getting your ass back up, get back in there, train, and go again. So.
Oh yeah, you don't come across clumsy in your fighting. When I see your fights, you seem like one of the more technical girls.
Yeah, the Spider Monkey, right? Is the fight name?
If you see my first fight, you would not say the same thing. I should post it. I gotta find the video. I have the video. I stood right hand in my first fight, and I was just throwing jabs because it would have been my cross the whole time.
Did you give yourself the nickname the Spider Monkey? Or did somebody else give it to you?
Why would I call myself?
I don't. Hang on. You're not allowed to. Hang on, because you're not allowed to give yourself a nickname in the fight game. Yeah, so I wasn't sure.
I'm just saying, if I got to choose my fight name, it'd be something more majestic than a fucking Spider Monkey.
Miss Amazing.
I figured it was a Talladega Nights reference. That's what I thought it was.
Oh.
You thought what?
A Talladega Nights reference? You've never seen that one?
A lot of people ask me that, and it's so funny how many people ask me where I got that name now, because when I was in Bama, my first pro fight, or even my jiu-jitsu style, if even roll with me like for 2 minutes jiu-jitsu, and they're like, oh, I know why they call you the Spider Monkey now, because I'm like all over the place.
Because you're all over him like a spider monkey. That's what they say.
Yeah, I'm gonna come at you like a spider monkey. Well, the very first time I saw you fight, I was like, her nickname is amazing because she's just all over him. Like, I feel like that's how a spider monkey attacks people, like tourists and
right on the back, right on the neck.
The Bangkok.
Oh yeah.
No, Dan actually gave me that name at first, and then after my first pro fight, I pretty much jumped on the girl's head. She was a lot bigger than me. It was a reservation fight, my first pro fight.
Did you say Dan?
She was like, Dan, yeah.
So that's
Dan
courtesy
Henderson.
of Dan Henderson gave you that nickname.
Yeah, and then it kind of picked up. You know, when you jump on someone's head in an octagon and, like, submit them in, like, 15 seconds, like, it kind of, all of a sudden, they're like, man, you came out here like a spider monkey. So then everybody thought I got it from the Talladega Nights, of course, but I didn't, so. But I would tell you, I would not choose the name Spider Monkey because there's nothing really cute except for like them being fuzzy and like little smushy faces. Like, I wouldn't want to be a Spider Monkey as a fight name.
Now let's talk about the tan. How do you keep the tan
I was
as
going to say
flawless
that she's
as
from
it
Indiana.
is?
I thought she was from California with that orange kiss skin, that sun kiss skin.
Yeah, I do. I know. I try to go for the orange tone, you know, little sunset looking with the crazy hair. No, I naturally have Indian, like, you know, in my family. So I've always been naturally tan, but I definitely keep it nice and tan when I like, we have one of our sponsors is his Perfect Tan. They've been like supportive of us, and it's really funny because Sam Alvey, my teammate, he doesn't go with the real tanning bed. He does like the orange spray tan, and he almost got like, I don't know if you guys remember all the backlash he got whenever
when he put it on his chest.
Yeah. So yeah, I actually do the tanning bed, and I don't go that much, so it doesn't take much for me to keep my tan because I actually, if you look at pictures of me when I was little, I was like super tan. So, but yeah, you know, I appreciate that you acknowledge my nice orange skin.
Because the thing is,
the
you
tan's on
actually,
point.
your last opponent, you made her actually look ill compared to you. Like, she looked so pale compared to you, and like she had the, like, you know, the bright colors of her tattoo. I was like, is she okay?
I think everyone, when I follow her on Instagram, when I swipe through her photos and I see her in every photo, she's just dark. The darkest one.
Yes, everybody's like, hey, you have like a nice orange. I'm like, I don't care. I look good. I don't really, like, as long as I'm happy with my tan skin. Of course, I don't want to look like a complete orange, but sometimes it comes like that in photos because, you know, summertime, I don't ever even go to the tanning bed when it's summer in Cali. It's just being outside. I get tan really quickly. But yeah, when I do tan, it's definitely with Perfect Tan. So.
Oh, you definitely got the tans on point. But after that last fight, have you had any word with the UFC about when you might be getting back in there?
No, I really, really hope they bring me back soon. I think I do my best when I'm, you know, fight close.
Consistently, yeah.
Yeah. I definitely, actually, my best performance I thought in the UFC was my first fight in the UFC against Justin Kish. I had fought back-to-back within 3 weeks. So, I mean, of course, they won't give me that, but I would like to fight.
Did she share her pants against you, or was that Felice Herrig?
What?
Remember
that was Felice Herrig.
Yeah, remember she shared her pants?
That was
Oof.
awful.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I think I pooped my pants one time in a fight.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was wearing white.
There's a couple of fighters that are known for that, but the question is, did anybody know?
Yoel Romero, I remember. Had
Yeah, because I'm sure you could make like a countdown.
I might be in like a forum or something like that somewhere on the internet.
The real question is it true that someone really offered her a bunch of money for those pants? Because I heard they did.
Oh, I'm sure. I see, what's
That's
her name?
fucking gross.
I see all the time, too, on Instagram. Ilmale McFarlane, the Bellator flyweight champion. People try to buy her, like, shoes, her feet, and she entertains it. She's gotten thousands of dollars, I think, at least the...
Oh, yeah. I know. I train with her. So, yeah, she's cool.
Yeah, you've ever seen that? She sells... I don't know if she actually takes the money, but I saw one post that was up to a couple grand.
I'm definitely taking the money.
She was selling used
I'm
socks.
definitely taking the money.
She was selling, like, used wrestling shoes. You know, used slippers. And some guy was like, three grand.
Ready for this? I heard the Conor McGregor, like, fight posters that all the fighters sign are worth, like, thousands of dollars. And I have one. I'm like, dude, I will sell that thing so fucking fast.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
I'll take a picture with it and be like, I had one, but now I have $1,000.
Yeah, that was one of the cool things, like fighting on the 25th anniversary. They gave us the shoes, the 25th anniversary shoes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited to have those, but I lost my posters actually from the last fight.
All right, Ashley, we want to thank you for joining us. We would like to get you
thank
on.
you for having me.
We want to get you on again in the future when you have a fight booked. We'll get on, talk a little more, maybe get a little more time with you.
Okay, cool. Sounds
Right.
like a plan.
So, Dennis, you have a little bit more experience than Ashley. What advice can you offer her going forward in her career?
I think she did the right move and start training to. Sometimes it's tough when you're the best person in the room. So training in the same room as the champion is very, very like. You always have like a meter to reach. Right? If she does a little extra work, it's very easy for you to do extra work. Am I right?
Right. Yeah. For sure.
And then they're on the same team and stuff like that. I think it's. Her jiu-jitsu is good. She always takes her fights to her strengths. She never tries to, do a fight away from her strengths, and I think she's on a great path.
Oh, yeah.
No quitting
so
this
much.
girl.
Oh, yeah, no quit. Never
Hey.
been finished. Every
Yeah.
fight's been very competitive.
Yeah.
She's in there, everyone.
Love it.
Thank you again for joining us, Ashley. Anybody you want to shout out or anything? Let people know how they can
Well-
find you on social media, please.
Yeah, definitely. Instagram, Spider Monkey Yoda. That's where I'm most active. Of course, Ashley Yoder MMA on Twitter, and then Ashley Yoder MMA on Facebook. So, yeah, follow me. My Instagram. I usually post crazy photos or crazy videos, so that's probably the funnest place to follow me. But other than that, good. Shout out to my perfect tan people because clearly I have a nice orange tan.
Heard that.
Thank you guys again.
Thank you again, Ashley. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks.
Ashley Yoder.
Who just walked in the room, Stan?
Our man, Eric Uresk. How are you, Eric?
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Good to see you. I feel like we missed the one really like the elephant in the room question. Ashley, are you dating at the moment? Are you single? I don't I feel like we got a little jambled. We had to avoid that question because I know we have a couple more guests coming up, but maybe next time we'll have to divulge into that one.
Right. Yeah, I didn't get into my. I like
We didn't
asking.
get into the we weren't very fight heavy there, so maybe the next rest of the show we'll get a little more
I'm so
personal.
stupid. So stupid.
Yeah, but she actually went into the street fighting. She's never been in a street fight. She said, and she's a fighter.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. I was telling Dennis before. I've heard stories of Eric Uresk. Like, where'd you used to bounce? Right, Neptune's, right?
Neptune's all over the Hamptons, all over New York, really.
Yeah, and I remember I used to hear stories like all the bouncers would kick someone out, and the guy would just keep mouthing off, and they'd be like, "All right, you want to fight somebody, Eric?" And the guy would be like, "Bring fucking Eric out, bring him out." And Eric would come out, and it'd be,
Not tall.
not tall,
Five and a
so
half
they would,
on a good day.
They would think it was gonna go good, and it would just be, dumped on their head. I'm sure ankles got popped. Yeah. A lot of bumps, people.
If you don't know Eric Uresk, what are you? 5'6"? You're as tall as me, right?
About as tall as you. Yeah.
5'6", 5'5"?
About 5 and a half.
Jacked.
Yeah.
So
MMA fighter. Where do you coach now? Still at
Phuket Top Team.
So Phuket Top Team. You do that? Are you still doing the online instructional videos?
I do. I have takedowns for MMA. There's an online course I put together to fuse striking into takedowns because I think a big weakness just in the MMA community in general and coaching really is the ability to fuse things. So there's a lot of good wrestling coaches out there that can, great wrestling coaches that can show you what to do when you get to the legs, right? But getting to the legs in a fight is completely different than getting to the legs in a freestyle wrestling match or a college wrestling match. It's a different art altogether. So it's something that I've taken a lot of time to study and figure out what makes an effective fusion from striking into your wrestling.
Oh yeah, you're an OG. I was telling, correction, it wasn't 13. I met you probably when I was like 14, 15. I remember the first time I met Eric. And how long were you training then?
Not wrestling. I've been wrestling a little while, but MMA. Not.
At that point, you had some sambo. You were doing sambo.
I just jumped into a sambo competition. I didn't know any sambo. I just jumped in because I'd done some judo.
Yeah, judo. Yeah, that's what you were doing. A lot of judo. So he had throws and everything. It was
I know all about his throws.
But I'm saying, even as a kid, it was the first person I saw with like judo that was implementing it into the MMA environment, and I was like, oh shit, this shit works.
Yeah, because he's LaFleur's boy. He came in. He's like, hey, my buddy Eric's coming to train with us. I'm like, all right, cool. First, I didn't go with him first. Wade did, and Wade's he's a wrestler, and I'm like in the corner of my eye, Wade went, boom. I was like, oh, we got Blondefighter right now.
Oh. That one up.
See how I segued in there? Hello.
What's going on, Katlyn? Welcome to Menace and the Man.
What's going on?
Stan the Man here with Dennis Bermudez and our in-studio guest, Eric Uresk.
Hey.
Blondefighter, you knew Eric?
I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe you saw him.
He knows Kyle, but now let's just me and Dennis need a little help with this. I'm sure Eric might need a little help with it as well. You know what's coming.
Wait, Eric from Thailand?
Yes.
Yes, Eric from Thailand.
Oh, okay.
So
I was like, I just heard Eric. I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, wait, I wasn't expecting that. What's going on?
Well, nobody calls him Eric Uresk. It's just like Eric, little Eric, or Eric from Thailand. Well, because there's Eric I.
Yeah, it's
He's
Eric or little Eric.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know exactly who they're talking about.
I know him as Eric Uresk. Like I said,
Right.
me and Eric trained together when I was a little kid, and then I didn't see him again for 15 years. You know? But Katlyn, how do you pronounce that name? Me and Dennis can never get it right.
Chookagian.
Chookagian. So I was really close, actually.
I was way off.
I was like, Chookagian.
Chookagian.
Yeah.
So Katlyn Chookagian joining us here on Menace and the Man.
Well-
Fighting Jessica I. When's this fight coming up? December 8th, right?
Yeah, December 8th.
Oh, yeah. So
Like
that's...
2.5 weeks.
Now, do you
Nice.
think this fight is a number one contender fight?
I mean, they didn't say that, but I think so. I hope so. Like, that's kind of what everyone, and like in the media and stuff is kind of saying that, but the UFC hasn't said it, so you never know with them. But even if they did say it, it wouldn't be a guaranteed either. So
Because Jennifer Aniston might make weight and be like, we got a number one contender.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what?
Oh, yeah. The
Yeah.
landscape always changes quick in the MMA game.
exactly.
Now, they got you ranked at number 2, so, I mean, a win over Jessica I think they have her ranked maybe 7 or 8. I would think a win over her might...
No, she's higher than that, no?
Who, Jessica I?
No,
Yeah.
I think she's ranked
just
kind
came
of
to
lower,
125.
but
Right.
since it's a new division, I don't think the weight,
Okay, so she just dropped.
the rankings
Yeah.
are really accurate.
Well,
But
we
they're
know-
really
well,
talking
yeah.
about me and her.
We know the rankings in the UFC don't really matter, but sometimes they come into play a little bit when they make the actual matchups that get to the title fight. So
For sure.
this one could be one of those. Have you ever
Yeah.
trained with Katlyn before, Dennis?
In the same room. I never
Oh yeah, you said you never do.
never
rounds
felt
before.
the pure horsepower
Oh yeah.
of Blondefighter. But
I have cooties, so he doesn't go with me.
this is true.
Yeah, Dennis said he never went with him. I went with Katlyn once, but I'm just a massive man. It wasn't fair, I'm just tremendously good.
Your boyfriend was on Menace and the Man last week. Did you give it a listen?
Yeah, I did.
How was he?
listened to it.
I feel like
He
we
was
could get a little
good.
more
He was
out of
good.
him, but
He was good.
Just got his blue belt.
yes, he did.
What a sandbagger!
Yeah, what a really
What a
sandbagging asshole, right?
What a
He's
sandbagger!
only been taking jiu-jitsu classes for like a year and a half.
I don't care.
Well, no, that's what it is too. Actual formal jiu-jitsu training, Kyle doesn't have that much, but he has world-class wrestling that automatically you step on the mat, he's a blue belt. And then he even learned some jiu-jitsu, so he has a couple of trick moves that he caught me in that knee bar that he catches everyone
Dude,
with.
I'm a decent black belt, and he fucks me up with that knee bar.
He caught me
I
with the
can't-
first
We
time.
talked about today.
Yeah, we talked
training.
about it today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his
It's
hit,
funny. He used to do that all the time, but I feel like now, since he started training, he doesn't do that anymore. Because I'm like, I haven't seen him do that. And so he used to do that all the time. Now he does other stuff. So it's pretty cool.
That's
he
nice of him.
evolved. Jiu-jitsu's
Yeah.
evolving for him. He's training with, obviously, one of the best guys in the game, Gordon Ryan, training at Henzo's. Are you, So when we had Kyle on, Kyle said he's not doing that much wrestling work with you. Why aren't you? Who do you do your wrestling work with?
I do most of my wrestling now with John Danaher. I do it's with him, and then we work on stuff after class, a lot of striking into combining striking into takedowns.
Mm-hmm.
But so I do some stuff with him, and then if I go live, Kyle will watch me go live and help me out, or if I have questions and stuff. But we don't really do actual coaching. I mean, he's there, he watches. I film all my sparring videos, so I'll show him stuff, and we kind of go over it. So he definitely helps me. But most of my wrestling's learned from John.
It's just so funny because I was like, you help your girlfriend. You're kind of like her coach. She's like, whoa. I am not her coach. I'm like, oh, all right.
Well, even
You know what it is? I think that a lot of girls in MMA, they're they train and then they start dating someone and then that's their coach. It's kind of and
right.
that's definitely not what we train together, but we don't I mean, I don't.
It was the opposite for you guys. You guys met.
Yeah.
Oh wow, you do wrestling? I'll work with you a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He definitely helps me a lot, but wouldn't say he's like my coach.
Right. So you just moved to Long Island now?
Yeah, in August.
Sorry to hear that.
I love it.
Yeah, I would say sorry to hear that too, especially this time of
Really?
year.
Well, she
I
moved
love
from
it.
Jersey, which is the armpit of the United States of America.
Man, I don't know if anything's much worse than Long Island.
Really?
Yeah. It's
Really? I love
2
it.
months a year. It's great.
Yeah.
The summertime
Yeah.
is great.
Summer
here.
and spring, but past
Summer
that,
and spring.
it's not.
Past that,
Well, you guys spent your whole life here. I just got here
Dennis
like
thinks
under
it's paradise.
I'd rather be in like an
decade ago.
ISIS like detention camp.
Well, maybe it's different because like I moved here and I don't really know anyone here, but everyone that grew up here, they all know they know everyone in Long Island. So maybe that has something to do with it. Like I'm coming here, I'm like I don't know anyone except for like a few people. So I'm sure if you grew up here your whole life, you'd feel a little bit different about it.
And being in Long Island, are you closer to where you train now than you were in Hoboken?
I'm actually I'm like a gym gypsy. I'm all over the place.
Okay.
I'm actually further. It's further from where I train in South Jersey, but I only go there twice a week. And then overall, the rest of my training, everything's closer.
Nice.
So like this morning, I sparred in South Jersey, and then I go there Tuesdays and Saturdays, and it's a brutal drive, but it's all right.
Now,
Only twice a week.
South Jersey is with Mark Henry, right?
Yes.
And how's that going? So he corners you, Danaher corners you, and who's your other corner? Because Kyle doesn't corner you, right?
No, Danaher doesn't corner me. I have Mark Henry. And then
Jamal
I have-
Patterson, right?
No. I used to work with him. I
Strike
haven't worked
two.
with him in like 3 years.
Oh.
But yeah, I have him. I have Sean Santella. He's one of my teammates. He's like a 125er, so black belt in jiu-jitsu. So he's in my corner for like most of the ground stuff. And then I also have another striking coach, PJ, that I work with at Henzo's.
Oh, yes, I know PJ from a little bit through social
I know
media
PJ, yeah.
and booking some fights. He's a good
Yeah.
dude.
Are you bartending anymore? Are you retired from bartending, or are you still a bartender?
No, I don't bartend anymore. I'm like last year and a half, I kind of stopped.
I would like some stories in that manner. Like you're a badass chick bartending, right? You're getting hit on, guys are getting too drunk. You ever have to kick someone in the side of their head?
No, but one time, like whenever there would be like a fight that broke out, and it was like that crazy like psycho girlfriend that like is trying to fight the bouncers. That
Right.
are
You
pulling
have
their
no
boyfriend
problem
off.
taking that bitch
They
out.
would be like, just restrain her because they can't touch her. And I was like, I would pretend like I didn't see them, like, because I didn't want to get involved with that. And, but I worked at like a club, so it was like super loud, super busy. So, but at the end of the night, I was always like in charge of like getting the last drunk girl out of the bathroom because they couldn't go in. Because the security guards would be like, "Oh, you got to get out," and then they don't say anything. Then they go in and they're like, You're harassing me. You can't come in the bathroom. And they're like laying on the floor. So I was always like, all right, girl, we got to go.
I was
Like,
really
okay.
hoping you were going to come with something a little bit better than that. Like, yeah,
knocked this bitch
like
out.
the bouncers can't touch him, but I can. And I fucking...
Yeah, no, not that. I'm not that cool. But it was funny where I used to work. A lot of the guys that I trained with, some people I knew, Henzo's and a couple other people, they started doing security. I got like one of them a job doing security there. So it was funny because it would be like all the people from the gym. We all worked together at the same club in Hoboken.
Is it crazy if I gave you a little bit of homework?
What?
So after your fight, we're going to have you come back on, right? I'm going
Okay.
to ask you the same question about being a bartender and having to like whoop someone's ass, and I want a made up story.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
That'd be amazing, right? Like, give
Just
me
to
like
spice
your
things up.
fantasy. I want the fantasy story of like an unreal event.
I didn't really go out of my way to do extra work, If something was going on, I kind of
Right.
like,
You're
I'd be like, I'd be in the locker room, like on my phone, sitting down the whole time.
Right,
so.
you weren't getting paid enough to fucking
Yeah,
judo chop
exactly.
a bitch.
I just trained all day. I'm not fighting some like.
Just got
psycho
your hair
girl.
done.
Yeah.
So now, what do you think of the current landscape of the women's 125-pound division? So now, obviously, it's a new division, but with all this, like, jumping around with Sajara and Nico Montano, now they have Valentina versus Joanna. Do you think that the division is now going to, like, write itself out with Joanna versus Valentina, or do you think we're going to keep running into these problems with the championship fights at 125?
I think now that they have the first like real title fight set with Joanna and Valentina, I think, after that fight, I think everything's going to start, becoming more normal for, before it was like Nico was the champ, but she had like, 6 fights and never fought in the UFC because it was not her fault. That's the Ultimate Fighter. So no one really like respected that. And, just everything going on. I think that, Valentina and Johanna are 2 professional fighters that everyone respects, and then them fighting for the title, I think will really like start the division off on the right foot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it was. I think it was 3 or 4. How many times have they tried to have a 125-pound title fight and they've only had 1? So
yeah.
they finally, hopefully, righted the ship by putting 2 more established veterans in there. But like, Sajara Eubanks getting a title shot, and people like that, I feel like they're overlooking a lot of the other girls. That's what my question was. Like maybe now they got the fights lined up that's going to put that division on the right path.
Yeah, and I think they're doing it right. Like my fight with Jessica I is on the same card as Joanna and Valentina, and they told me if like something were to happen to one of them that I would be, I would be the replacement. So I think, learning from mistakes and putting like an extra fight on the card. And originally when Sajara was supposed to fight Valentina at MSG, I didn't have a fight at MSG, but they wanted me to be the back to like weigh in, to just go in and weigh in case something happened. So I think they're getting a little bit smarter with it. So if anything happens, they're covered.
Oh, yeah, because the division has so much talent, and I feel like it was such a mess there. And it was partially because they had, for lack of a better way to put it, 2 inexperienced girls at making the weight, and 2 girls that weren't really ready to fight every 2-3 months and in title fights. Like they weren't championship level fighters, for lack of a better way to put it,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel bad for them. It's not their fault. They went on the Ultimate Fighter, and everyone's kind of bashing on them. And they're like, listen, like if I'm offered the title, obviously I'm going to take it. It's not my fault.
Oh yeah, no, you can't fault anyone for accepting a title fight. But now, like I said, they got the right track. If they look at like a 4-woman tournament right there, that's a really good 4-woman tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You and Jessica I are 2 of those women that were always fighting without the 125 division in the UFC, where if it was there, you probably would have been 2 and 3, if not 1 and 2,
Right.
So I think they finally righted the ship. So we'll get you on. We definitely want to get you and Kyle on, maybe do something in studio so we can...
Yeah, I want a couples therapy session. I don't know.
Oh, God.
Like, all right, Kyle, tell me.
They have a lot of time
Tell me
for that.
what upsets you. Okay. Now, Blondefighter, what upsets you about Kyle? Okay, before you say that, what do you like about Kyle?
What do I like about
I'm just kidding. I went too far.
Yeah.
I went too
it's
far.
a little too far.
I got deep. But that's what's gonna be like next time.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, we'll be down.
So I want a made up story. And then
Made up story.
Yeah.
We gotta have Kyle on as well.
Yep.
And hopefully get the W against Jessica I, so we're having a good time on here.
For sure.
Sounds good.
And if you guys want, you guys can come in studio, and I'll bring beers and such. We'll have a fiesta. That's Spanish for party.
Nice. I'm down for that. I like the party.
All right, sounds good, Blondefighter. We want to thank you again for joining us. Everyone, be sure to check her out. Can you just let our following know how they can find you?
Twitter and Instagram at Blondefighter.
Blondefighter, Katlyn Chookagian.
Yeah, there's an E at the end of blonde for all you people out there.
Yeah, it's how
can't
you
spell
spell
well.
blonde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll talk to you hopefully a week after the fight, 2 weeks after the fight. We'll get you on again, and good times with Menace and the Man. Hopefully Dennis will bring the beer, and you guys will have a little fiesta.
Yeah, just text me what kind of beer you're into. Modelo's or something like that. I don't know.
All right, I'm down.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you again for joining us.
All right, thanks, guys.
Well, see you later.
Katlyn, Blondefighter.
Say your last name, dude. She told you how to say it.
I've been saying it, Chookagian. I was getting it right for weeks, and I was doubting myself.
Yeah. No, you should keep doubting yourself. That was wrong.
Chookagian.
No.
All right. And what are you working on your Spanish with the fiesta?
Mm-hmm. Heard that, boy.
Well, we're going to try to get Cynthia Calvillo on next week, so get something ready.
Oh, are we?
Yeah. Get something ready. Don't come with nothing in the chamber, nothing Spanish. At least something. At least congratulations. However you say congratulations in Spanish.
That was Italian.
Yeah. So what do you... How is Thailand? Are they speaking English there? Like, you?
I don't deal with any ties.
So it's a very Americanized area.
Well, it's the area that I live in.
Who do we got here?
Well, let's bring Al on. I'll tell you about that.
Yeah, tell Al about it.
Yeah.
Raging Iaquinta.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
What's up, brother?
What's up, dude?
I'm chilling, man.
Just
I'm chilling. I'm glad we made this work out.
oh, me too. I switched people around the whole nine.
Oh yeah, we did.
You're the
We did
best.
quite the shuffle to make sure we got Al Iaquinta.
I think it's important. It's essential.
Oh man, I appreciate it. Who else do we got on there?
Well, welcome to Menace and the Man, Al. You got my Stan the Man here. We're joined with Eric Uresk and Dennis the Menace Bermudez.
What's up, fellas? What's going on?
We're just hanging out.
And
Hell
now
yeah.
we got one of the top lightweights in the world, Raging Al Iaquinta, joining us.
Love it.
Catching him before training. He's got the fight with Kevin Lee coming up.
Big fight, big day, big training session with Longo coming up. I'm just heading to the gym right now. Yeah, man, it's exciting stuff. It's my first 5-round fight that I get to prepare for. So,
Right.
the last one I kind of just wung it,
Right.
but I think for this fight the 5 rounds is definitely going to be in my favor. I think the longer it goes, the better it'll be for me.
You get a little thank you cash for that for taking on the Russian Khabib.
I got a little bit. I got a little thank you cash, a little bit. Not like the old days from what I hear, but I'm not,
Well, you heard it first from Weidman. He would get a lot of thank you cash.
Yeah. It's not like the old days, but hey,
Like a mill in the locker room. Am I wrong?
I've heard the same kind of things.
I could
That
really
would've been
use a
that would've
mill in
been-
the locker room.
Oh, that's
that would have been real nice.
Instead, your thank you cash was like, what? Tell me if I'm wrong. Like 50 grand, but like traceable, like taxed, like.
It was something just like that.
So
But it was a great opportunity.
Oh, for
and,
sure.
I opened a lot of people's eyes, I think, and that put me in the spot to fight Kevin Lee now. Win over him will put me right back in that mix of people talking, looking towards the title shot. So it's all working out. It's working out well.
Oh yeah, I've been telling people for years, if Al had those fights, like if you put in Al in there with Tony Ferguson or put him in there with Khabib, it would be competitive. It'd be, if not Al knocking them out.
Hang on, I think Al because I've sparred both Al and I've sparred Ferguson. I was taking Ferguson down at will.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, people always undersold Al, and I would always be like,
Al,
no.
you have to string 2-3 shots together, and then if you do take him down, you're getting omoplated or like armbarred or triangle. It's like, dude, stop.
Oh yeah.
Can I have 1 second of this where I feel like I'm like
Well,
in
that's-
control?
I always knew from
I
where
appreciate that.
I always knew from where Al came from that he had good jiu-jitsu, and then even that Kevin Lee fight was one of the first fights where I was like, whoa, he's got some fucking tricky shit. Like, he was going for leg locks, he was like scrambling, he was going inverted and avoiding getting hit. He was doing some fancy shit in that fight.
One of my very first time sparring you, Al, you punched me with a 2 and then came around with your back foot and kicked me down. I'm like, how the fuck did I just get hit twice from the same side? I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me.
I gotta find it. I was looking somewhere. I was looking through some old emails or something, and I found sparring sessions from me and you before we were in the UFC.
Let me get that.
And I was like, I gotta send this to Dennis, but I was right in the middle of something, so I'm gonna send that to you. I gotta find it.
Yes.
I gotta find it. But it was funny to watch. We're both so raw and just swinging away. The wrestling's still there, but the boxing and the kickboxing, we were just winging them. It was funny.
In that small cage at Belmore kickboxing.
Yep. That's exactly where it was.
Yeah. Little sparring session in a phone booth.
Good ones. Yep. With the pole in the middle.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Now, Al, since I've reached out to you, right? This is your first time hearing about Menace and the Man, right? Our show.
I had heard you've been doing it. You just kind of just started it, right?
Yeah. Well, we talk about you all the time. Like when we were talking to Matt Frola, you came on. I was like, dude, tell me something crazy that happened at FrevFest, Beach Fest. He's like, well, Ragin Al came and he took a case of beer.
Tried to row a boat to
And
Connecticut.
rowed a boat out to where we couldn't see him anymore, and we had to go take a jet ski out to pick him up.
They didn't have to. I was fine. They got scared. I was just rowing. I don't know. I was having fun. There was an island, and it looked a lot closer than it was.
Right.
So I started paddling, and then before long, I was still paddling, and it was
still far away.
I thought I would have been there like an hour ago, and it's still. I'm like halfway there now. I think probably not even. And then they came on. The Frivola Fest. You got to come next year.
Oh, I was
definitely
gonna say, the next FrevFest
That
is going to
guy
be lit.
throws
We're going to do a
a
live
party.
episode of Menace and the
Yeah,
Man at the
you
next
got-
FrevFest.
Absolutely, you got to, because that is he was like, yeah, we do this Frivola Fest, the party. I was like, all right, yeah, I'll come by. I get there, they got a tent, they got a DJ, it's on the water. They're taking jet skis out. There's boats. There's
It's a shit
beer
show.
pong. It's a shit show. It was in the beginning. It's a little calm, but when the sun goes down, that place turns into a madhouse. It was great. It was
Ragin'
awesome.
Al's kind of scene, right?
What's that? Definitely my scene, 100%. That was fun. That was good, for sure.
So now, how is it leading up to the fights? No partying for you. Like, how many weeks out? When do you cut it back?
Usually like this fight was like 8 weeks. I think I pretty much, cut it out.
2 months is my number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. I went down to Atlantic City. The Ring of Combat was this Friday night. I had to get the hell out of there. I left right after the fight. I didn't even want to stick around and, because you go out, you have one beer,
Right. Yep.
and you had one, so you have two, then you get a buzz on, and
Yeah.
you might as well just keep it going. So
No,
I
you
just,
start
like,
you start bartering with yourself like, tomorrow I'll just run. I'll run
no,
further.
yeah, no, it never works. I have to just, I'm
Yeah.
like all or nothing. I have to just cut it all the way out and just,
Yeah.
get bed early, wake up early, training. I shut it down.
Oh,
That's
and
it.
you feel so good when you're doing those
So-
things, right? And then
So
you're
good. The first time you get drunk, it's like, what the fuck? You drink like two beers and you wake up the next
like,
day.
I'm
with
never
a
gonna
panic.
drink again. And then
Yep.
hey, FrevFest is this weekend. Like, fuck.
I'll
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah.
So-
Hell yeah.
What do we got for this one? December 15th or 14th? What is it? 15th, right?
December 15th in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's they got a new arena there, the Fiserv Arena in Milwaukee. It's pretty cool. Main event, 5 rounds. I'm really looking forward to this. Kevin Lee, we fought 4 years ago, and since then he moved to. He came in the UFC thinking he was going to be, run through everybody, and I remember the look on the face after I beat him when they were raising my hand, and it was just kind of like a wake-up call. He was in there. He knew he was in there with something different that he had never felt that before, and he made the adjustment. He moved to Las Vegas. He changed his team, changed everything up. So he's definitely all in on this fight game. He's bigger, he's stronger, and he's faster than he was before. But I think I'm just still too skilled for him. He's got some good wrestling. He's got long arms, and he pushes guys up against the cage, locks his hands behind their butt, and gets a takedown there. Most of his takedowns, anyway. But I think I could do a great job of stuffing his takedowns, getting my own takedowns, and then I think the stand up is where I'll really start to pull away in the fight.
Oh yeah, he's gotten better, but you pieced him up in that first fight.
Is he talking a little shit this fight?
Kevin Lee is talking some shit, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
We were both kind of jabbing at each other for really the last 4 years. After I beat him, he wanted a rematch, and then I kind of took my break. I was out for 2 years. I had the knee surgery.
Right.
He won a few fights. He got up ranked ahead of me, and he kind of stopped talking. He stopped talking about me. And then with this last fight, it put me back up there. I think the timing's perfect. For the both of us, it's a good fight. It's a rivalry. It's got all the makings of a really good fight. I'm prepared for 5 rounds of absolute hell and brutal war, but I'm hoping that I get in and out quick and painless.
And then you've been to you've been to the arena for press and stuff like that already?
Yeah, I was out there about a month ago. I was out there about a month ago. It was pretty fun. It was pretty cool.
Did they bring him out as well?
No, he was there too, but they didn't have us do anything together. They didn't have us do any like stare downs or anything. We were just going around on the local news broadcasts,
Right.
which was pretty interesting. Some of them had no idea. It was a really broad range of people that I was talking to, from news anchors that have no idea about the sport. I'm explaining to them. She's looking at me like I'm a lunatic savage, and I have to kind of explain what the sport is to her. And then some of the some of the news people, they were actually big fans of the sport and myself. So it was a good time. Kevin Lee said he asked if we could do some of the interviews together, but they wouldn't let us. I didn't really care. I think that would have been interesting, but I don't know what the hell he would have said or done. I don't know, but yeah, they kept us separate, and we just did our local media stuff and in and out. We flew in that day, flew home the same day, and that was about it.
Kevin, a lot of Al, a lot of the people I know that train with Kevin, they talk about his wrestling and his top control, and you did a fantastic job hand fighting against Khabib, and were able to work your way out many times, and really impressively. That's got to give you some confidence going into this fight, knowing that you were able to hand fight and work your way out of bad positions against the best top control in the world. And coming into this fight with Kevin Lee, that needs to feel good to have that in your back pocket.
Yeah, Kevin's got a little different top game than Khabib did or does. I think my leg work, I have some pretty cool stuff that if we get in that position, hopefully it doesn't get there, but if it does, I'll have some pretty cool stuff to go get after him with. In the first fight, I went for I didn't even know like X guard and stuff like that at the time, but now I'm pretty savvy with it. So I'm not looking forward to being on the bottom, but if I am on the bottom, I got some stuff that I'm looking forward to.
Well, you're Serra trained.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like we got some really crazy Jason Rao.
Oh my gosh, we were talking about him last
week.
week.
Yeah, we were talking about Jason last week.
I roll with him, and we go leg locks and stuff. His leg locks are just incredible, and I've been learning a lot of stuff from him. So I'm looking forward to it. I think a few years ago I was really going for stuff and having some success, definitely in training with the leg locks and stuff, the X guard, stuff like that. But I think I've really gotten to another level with it now, and I'm looking forward to using it.
One of my favorite Iaquinta stories is how he knocked out Diego Sanchez only swimming and like shadowboxing for a fight camp. Am I wrong there?
That was that was pretty rough, man. My knee was pretty banged up, and
crazy.
I signed up for the fight, and I started off. Me and Eric Uresk went to Eisenhower Park, and I was trying to hit pads in the pool because my knee was just killing me so bad. And they wouldn't let us hit pads in the pool. They were like, "Oh, maybe we're getting scared." They were getting scared of us, so they kicked us out. But I ended up I was swimming like 3 5-minute rounds as hard as I could. Just totally exhausting myself every day.
This is no joke. Swimming's a motherfucker,
Swimming's
man.
crazy.
Especially if you don't swim all the time.
It's the best workout. And then I was going to Staten Island, the sports science lab out there, and I was able to do some stuff with like the fit lights where you're punching at the lights. I posted on Instagram some of the stuff that we did out there. So I was basically doing that, swimming, and then just doing circuits around my knee, doing a lot of core stuff. So I mean, I was training. And I figure I kind of already know how to fight, so just get in shape and go in there, swing him. And I was very fortunate the way it turned out. I was able to clip him in the beginning of the first round, and it was like the most relieving fight because I hadn't
tested.
It was like it was one day where I play sparred for like a half an hour, and the next day my knee blew up again. So it took a couple days for me to even be able to get back in. You know, it was like hurting when I was walking. So it was it was definitely stressful not having the sparring to that confidence of that last. You know, when you get that
For your
last sparring
timing
session.
and
Yeah, you get that last, your cardio, you know, you pushed a hard pace for 3 rounds and you just know you have
You're
the
ready.
cardio to last. I was kind of unsure, so I wanted to definitely get out of there as soon as possible, and it was very fortunate that it did.
Oh yeah, you slayed Diego.
What?
Diego dropped like a ton of
Well,
bricks.
I actually lied. That's not my favorite Raging Al story.
Uh-oh.
My favorite Raging Al story is after he knocked out Ross Pearson, went on Instagram and was like, what? No, no bonus? Boom, break this. No bonus? Boom. And I saw that live and I was like, dude, what's this guy? He's definitely drunk. He's definitely pissed. This is not good.
Yeah.
And I went to show LaFlair the next day, like, dude, our boy's going to be in trouble. And I went to show him and it was gone.
Yeah.
The UFC reached out to him, was like, dude, take it down now.
Yeah, they were like, immediately delete that right now.
It was gold.
I was actually after the Lazone fight.
Yes. Well, I mean, you got robbed two fights of a bonus.
A few bonuses.
I kind of think, yeah, that one and those 2, I should have got something, but it was they found a way to give it to someone else. I mean, I feel like you beat Joe Lazone at that point in his career and my career. It was a big win for me, and he was like the bonus king at that point. Every fight he was winning a bonus, and they gave it to Tim Boach and someone else, and Thales Leites got fight of the night, and Thales Leites got knockout of the night. And I was like, that fight was so sloppy. Tim Boach was like just winging. I don't know. I just felt like I put on such a clean technical performance.
Yeah.
It just shows what they're looking for.
Well,
you know,
Lazone doesn't get his head bobbled like that. You know what I mean? Like, usually he gets in bad shape and he's a tough dude and he, like, finds a way to survive. But you just, like, he couldn't even stand up. It was like, damn. I've never seen that dude like that. I've seen him bloodied up and he keeps fighting. Yeah. But I've never seen him, like, stanky, like, in knee after knee, step after step, like that.
Well, hopefully it comes to fruition in the future. But I've always argued with people, if Al didn't have those disputes with the UFC and missed that, year and a half, 2 years he missed and would have got those fights, he'd be 1 or 2 in the world. If not, the champion, Give him Khabib with a training camp in 5 rounds,
Yeah.
He, like, the theory of Conor was if he's on the feet, he could land that strike. I think Al could do enough on the ground to be on the feet to land that strike,
Right, with proper game plan,
More threats, for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm there now. I think the UFC and I are way better, have an open line of communication. Hunter Campbell and Sean Shelby, we talk pretty regularly, and they're looking out for me. So I'm definitely looking to stay active, stay in there, and I got a taste of that title. Like, I just feel like I can't. What my highest accomplishment is that I kind of fought for the title. It was like I didn't even really fight for the title because I don't know, was it for the title? It was kind of yes, kind of no.
Right, that was a weird one where if you won, you didn't get the title, but if he won, he did, right?
UFC say they weighed his underwear and they would honor you as the champion, I think they said.
Yeah, they said that I was going to be considered the champion, but I wouldn't have the belt. So I don't know. I can't say that can't be my highest accomplishment. I got to get that title shot and I got to get that belt. Right. So I'm working towards it. Kevin Lee's the first step.
The winner of this fight's definitely in a spot where possibly he's fighting for that next championship opportunity, depending on what happens with Tony Ferguson, because he's another guy in limbo right now as well. The 155 is still a little chaotic, especially with the 229 melee.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I think they have their court date on it's like a couple days before my fight, so that should kind of clear up everything a little bit, and then and we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting. Ferguson's right in there. Khabib, has been talking to his manager. His manager's been talking about boxing, Mayweather, fighting GSP.
Right, they're all over the place. He's got like 5 different opponents, right? Like, we could go over here.
He's trying to cash out.
Yeah.
I think he's got it. They got to try to make that Ferguson fight happen one more time.
They have to.
It was so not like funny, I guess ironic, seeing the last fight, Ferguson weighed in and Khabib weighed in. They both made weight, but they weren't fighting each other. He was fighting McGregor, and the other guy was fighting Pettis. It was like you can't get them when they're fighting each other, but when they're fighting other people, now they're on weight and healthy and everything. It was pretty ironic.
That was the craziest shit. That Tony Ferguson tripped over a wire and blew his knee out. That shit's insane. That caused so much chaos.
Crazy. That whole event just was insane. That whole weekend was nuts. McGregor wrecking the bus, and then Holloway not making weight, or not being able to.
Even that was one of those things I said. I was like, if those guys would have got that bus to come off, I was like, Raging Al's on that bus, Khabib. That's a bunch of fucking random Irish guys. Do they all know how to fight? You know what I mean? That would have been an interesting scrap had the bus actually got off. You know?
Yeah. Got off. If they just stopped the bus and everyone got off, yeah, that would have been crazy. That would have been interesting because there was a lot of fighters on that bus.
Yeah, like who did Conor have with him? He had like Charlie Ward and like 2 other fighters. Like what the fuck were they gonna do?
He definitely had to be on drugs or drunk, right?
Oh,
they had to. I've been saying to everyone, I wish I was on that plane coming over here because those guys were partying.
Oh yeah.
Mike.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, 1 second. Oh shit.
Yeah.
What'd you just do there?
That's why I can't be in charge of these things. Hey, Mike, I'll call you right back.
All right, buddy.
All right. Dude, what just happened, Al?
I don't know, man.
You hang up on me, dude?
I didn't. It just beeped and it turned off. I don't know what happened.
You definitely are.
I thought you hung up on me. Are we still on? Are we
live? We're still on. We're still live.
Yeah, there we go.
Don't let Dennis fuck shit up. This is what happens when I put Dennis in charge to book interviews and stuff. He books everyone at the same time.
What are you talking
and then
about?
There's all this chaos
Hang
going
on. He brought me on like, hey, Dennis, let's do this podcast. Like, you're going to be the talent. I'm going to get everyone. You're going to be the talent. Next thing you know, I'm the one wheeling and dealing. Hey,
I told you how it works. We both get guys, and then you're the one who was like, I'll get them, and then you get them all for the same time. You just got to spread out the time.
Fuck off, Stan. Sick of your shit.
That's actually my fault. I fucked that up. I appreciate you switching it up for me, though. I appreciate it.
That's why we're best friends, dude.
Oh yeah, Ragin' Al's the man. Before we let you go, Al, I also had to shout out, I know you train now with Serra, but you originally started with one of my old friends. You started with Ricky Bahraini, right?
Ricky Bahraini, that guy's the best.
You know Ricky as well, right?
Oh yeah, he's the man. Me and him took a trip down to, where the hell did we go? Cincinnati, Ohio. And we both fought the same night. I mean, I could try to explain Ricky Bahraini.
Ricky's gonna come on our show. He'll get his deal.
We need
He's
him
alive?
It would take all day to try to describe that guy, and I still wouldn't do it justice. That's one of the craziest people I've ever met.
Hang on. Maybe
you're on the good side of him.
Yes, maybe after your win, we have you guys both in studio.
Oh, that'd be great.
Oh, yeah. You know what it is? I've known Ricky since I was a kid, and he has a brother named Stanley, and his dad's name is Stanley, so he always remembered me. And then I'm Baroni's cousin, so he always knew who I was. He always looked out for me. Like, Ricky's beat people up for me when I was a teenager, you know? Like, yo, Ricky, that guy's fucking with me. Iced. Done. Ricky would just fucking ragdoll him. Is this good? Is this good? And then let them go. And I'd be like, good, Ricky. You did good, bro.
He's great. But yeah, we traveled a bunch together, fought in a bunch of amateur fights at the same time. That was some good times. He was like he was one of the first guys that really taught me jiu-jitsu and stuff. And he's just got some strongman, brutal, painful jiu-jitsu. There's nothing smooth and flowy about his jiu-jitsu.
Eric, how do you know Brainy?
Training with Space Monkey.
Yeah, the same way I know Eric back in the day. Ricky being the big maniac in the room who would just hurt people. So yeah, Al, before we let you go, I have many funny Ricky stories. One time training with him, he was the first person who showed me like, oh, when someone goes for a leg lock, they're vulnerable for a leg lock too. But how that happened was me and him were going live, and he like kind of was fishing for a leg lock, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna go for a leg lock on him. I went for a leg lock on him. He kicked me in the face, and then leg locked me. And then got up and was like, that's how you do it, kid. When someone goes to leg lock you, you leg lock them. And I was like, what about the kick in the face? And he was like, oh, yeah, my bad. My bad, bro. My bad.
That's great. Yep, that sounds about like Rick.
Oh yeah, I've
That's
seen
awesome.
Ricky snap limbs, maniac. But skilled jiu-jitsu, he's tapped out some really good guys, and he's one of the guys who I know helped start Iaquinta. That's why when I always watch Al fight, I'm like, I know Al's a savage. I know he'll fight till the death for a submission. You know, he doesn't have that quit in him at all.
Absolutely. Yeah, Rick definitely instilled that in me, and you know, he's. I'm talking about him like he was. He is one of the best. If you're on his good side, there's no one better to know, and if you're on his bad side, that's probably not a good thing. You know.
Oh yeah,
He's
and
awesome.
even that tutelage, like me growing up on Long Island, if I know someone trained with Bahraini and then trained with Serra, I'm like, fuck that guy. I don't want to fuck with that guy. You know, he's got some fucking. He's a beast.
Yeah, LaFleur says like Greg will mess with Greg DiPasquale at Long Island MMA will mess with Ryan and be like, who wins the fight, you or Phil Brody? He's like, dude, I would never fight that guy because if I beat him up, he would come to my house and kill me.
Yeah, it's gonna get
Like,
serious.
Right.
it's going like if I beat him up, he's going to get the last hand and kill me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So what are you going to do now, Al? You going to work out with Longo?
Yeah, going to hit some pads with Ray. Got do like 5-minute rounds of pad work. We do like a little bit of ground and pound dummy back up and down from pads to the ground and pound, and that's the workout for tonight.
How are the amateurs coming along over at Serra Longo's?
Oh, there's a lot of upcoming talent. We have a bunch of guys around 155, 145 that are they just, you know, they get into the point where they're going to make the jump to pro. Bunch of amateur titles in the ring combat amateurs, and now, you know, moving up to the pros. So we got a good stable of guys. A lot of great bodies for me to work with. Got good guys that are hungry. They come after me and they keep me on my toes. So I never have a day where these guys are coming after me. It's good.
Oh yeah, with those coaches over there, they're eventually, you know, it's just going to keep happening. Every new cycle is going to roll in every few years of guys that are just fucking killers. So yeah, Al.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You got any amateurs? Throw them my way. I help book some amateur events. We got an event coming up in March. I would love to get some of the Serra Longo team on that one, the New York Fight Exchange. So keep in touch.
Absolutely, 100%.
And then
100%.
we'll get Ragin Al in there as a VIP. Hopefully you don't got a fight booked, then we'll let everybody, you know, meet the man.
Nice. Hell yeah. Sounds like a plan, bro.
Woo!
I'm in.
And like I said, we'll be live at FrevFest, so we'll have Ragin Al on for that thing when that thing comes.
Yes. That will be good.
That shit's gonna be
That will
fun.
be great. I'm gonna book my fights around FrevFest. I'm gonna try to be fighting like a month before,
Yeah.
so I don't have anything coming up. I can.
And we'll put videos of us on Instagram breaking shit.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah, let's do it. Let's run that.
UFC can't do shit to those videos.
Hell yeah.
All right, so have a good training session, Al. Thank you again for joining us. We'll hopefully get you on again after the fight, and we'll shoot more shit.
Hell yeah. Thanks, guys. You have a good night.
All right, take it easy, Al.
Peace.
Let's call Mike back.
Oh, I forgot I was trying to wrap up, Al.
I know. I mean, this is a crazy show tonight, dude.
Yeah,
It's just
Jam-packed. You know Mike Chiesa at all?
Nah.
You know of him, right?
No, of course, yeah.
see what dude. He needs to get a better ring back.
Oh,
Right?
always with the. What do you expect? This isn't high school, Dennis, where the ring back, people have the music.
Hello?
Mike, what up? What
Menace. What is good, brother?
up? Dude, are you ready for this? So
I'm ready.
we had Ragin Al on, right? I'm talking to him, and then you called me, and I like pressed the wrong button where I accepted you and hung up on Al.
Oh, shit.
That's why I was like, oh shit, wrong button.
That's funny.
So what's going on, Mike? Stan the Man here. Welcome to Menace and the Man. You're joined by myself, Dennis Bermudez, and our in-studio guest, Eric Uresk.
Yo.
Nice. It's good to meet you, sir.
2.
So we wanted to get you on. I know Dennis has been reaching out to you and trying to get you on. You're fighting Carlos Condit. When is that? December 30th?
December 29th, yep.
29th, yeah. So you're on the John Jones card, right?
Yes, sir.
I love that fight for you.
That's a great fight.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it, dude.
So now what happened? 155 just got to be too much?
No. Actually, yeah. 55. Let me retract my previous statement. Yeah, 155 did get to be in too much. I'm 6'2", and before I got into the UFC, I had a full-time job, so I was just on the side. And once I got into the UFC in 2012, I was finally able to start doing strength conditioning. I was able to quit my job and really be a full-time fighter. And as I started to get into that, I really started to grow into my frame. I've always had really wide shoulders. I've always had a big frame, but I just through 6 years of being in the UFC, 6 years of being able to actually hit the weights hard and take it serious, and my supplementation and stuff, I year by year, I just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the cuts started getting harder and harder. And, I could still make 155. It just has to go absolutely perfect. Like not one thing can go wrong. I have to hit my right numbers every night. And, headed into this Anthony Pettis fight, everything was good. Everything was great. I was on track to making weight. And then 10 days before the fight, my very last hard sparring session, of course, I threw a left kick really hard, and I ended up breaking the second metatarsal in my foot.
Jesus.
And yeah, so just, and for me, after everything that happened in Brooklyn and not being able to fight Anthony in April, I just was not going to pull out of this fight. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is a guy that's a former champion. I've been prepared for this guy for, dang near 7 months. I'm like, there's no way I'm pulling out of this fight.
Yeah, because we had talked at the UPI about it.
Yeah, and I was not taking no for an answer. And in hindsight, I don't regret it. I don't like the fact I got a loss on my record. I don't, I don't accept the fact that I'm on a 2-fight losing streak. I never thought I'd be here in my career, but I was my own worst enemy that fight, and essentially, not making any excuses. I missed weight. It was probably hands down the most embarrassing thing in my career was missing weight. I'm very adamant about making weight. I've always been very professional in that, right? But missed weight by 1.5 pounds, and I can attribute a lot of that to the broken foot.
Well,
but I should have been more. I should have been more professional, honestly, and just done what would have been the right thing, and that's just trying to pull out of the fight. You know what I mean? But you live, you learn, and everything happens for a reason. And I'm really happy with my decision to go up to 170 pounds.
Yeah, because every fight commission is different. They check different. The doctors check different things. Obviously, they didn't touch your foot. Otherwise you would be like, it does kind of hurt. Whoa, we got a problem here.
Yeah, I got pictures of it too on my phone. It was black and freaking swollen. I was in a boot. I'm at the PI trying to hide from people. They ended up since I was trying to finish my workouts and stuff. They ended up having to they brought in security detail to block off the training room. Because that's International Fight Week. There's 2 fight cards back to back. We're talking probably over 100 fighters, easily 100 fighters, 200 fighters in town in Las Vegas that are fighting, that are there for Fight Week, all that stuff. So, we tried to keep it under wraps. And, everybody knew how much that fight meant to me. And, I still went out there. I still laid on the line. Still won a round, ended up getting caught. And, it's just the nature of the beast, man. And you see the way – you see the landscape of the sport now, and it used to be whoever the biggest guys are, be the biggest guy in your weight class you can possibly cut as much weight as you can, kill yourself.
You're gonna be the
strongest,
strongest,
that era.
Better fighter.
Yeah, be the biggest, strongest guy in your weight class, even if you got to cut 40 pounds. Whereas now we're seeing guys like Robert Whitaker and Kelvin Gastelum are fighting for the middleweight title, 2 former welterweights. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I see the moves that guys are making in that direction. And I'd be a fool not to test the waters, man. And it's so far, dude. It's been this camp. It's like I feel guilty about how stress-free I am. I'm usually stressed all camp about weight. I'm like, dude, I'm loving this. I'm just training hard. I'm not super banged up all the time. I'm not tripping on the scale. I'm just really enjoying training for a fight.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people don't know that, if you're a really big guy and you're cutting weight and you're 4% body fat, and you're pulling water, you're pulling water out of all of your muscles, and then after that, where it starts pulling from? Your brain, where, a dude gets, flicked in the head, and he's knocked out, unconscious, That happens to guys that cut a ton of weight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I could just, it's not how the sport should be, you know what I mean? And it's not like I'm a guy where, if I didn't have the frame, and, if I didn't pull the numbers strength-wise, to be a welterweight, I would have to make adjustments. And like I said, I missed by 1.5 pounds.
Yeah.
The weight cut, bad. Given the circumstance with a broken foot, I gave it all I had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I work with Lockhart and Leith and those guys, and they're freaking awesome. Like, people try to be like, they suck. You missed weight. I'm like, that has nothing to do with them, dude. They did their job. They're fucking awesome. But, it's one of those things where it's like, dude, hey, I'm getting the green light from people at the PI. Like, dude, you're strong enough. You got enough muscle mass. You know what I mean? Like, you go fight at 170. I put on, since the Pettis fight, once I got cleared with my foot, I've been on a strong weight program. Like, I put on like 8.5 pounds of muscle.
Yeah.
Like, I'm at this point in my career, there's no turning back for 155. It's done.
Yeah. When you went into this fight, what'd you weigh? Like, when you took it to this fight camp?
When I weighed it at the start of this fight camp?
Yeah.
I think I was like 209 and a half.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So I'm still, but this is me starting camp after I started working with Clint Waterberg and the nutrition staff at the PI.
Clint's amazing.
And this is me. I was on a 12-week bulking program where I'm eating like 6 eggs and 2 cups of oatmeal every morning. You know what I mean? Like 4,500 calories a day. Like, really, really, I essentially, once I started camp and tightened things up, I dropped, I leaned out pretty fast. So right now, I'm about 190.
Yeah.
And that's eating good. You know what I mean? Just being healthy. So I like where I'm at.
Yeah. Because, in terms of missing weight, like, I don't know about you, but me personally, when I'm cutting weight and I'm the last week, I spend a lot of time kind of running, the last 2 weeks rather, because that's me personally. That's how I sweat a lot is running.
Yeah.
And if you got a broken foot, were you running or
Yeah,
no?
you're
Like,
missing
what
weight
was the
then,
game plan?
Dude, see, that's what it was. So for me, it was I had to take a couple days off. Like, I never took a day off from training. They put me in a boot. And I just would stand still, straight-legged, just hit some mitts, you know what I mean? And then, Bo had me doing some lifts and stuff, sitting down, and, really light lifts just to get me sweating because I couldn't run, you know what I mean? So just sitting down on the bench, light dumbbells, just stuff to get me sweating. So after a few days, once Heather gave me the green light, they put me on the Alter G, it's a treadmill that makes it to where it pressurizes from your waist down to where it makes you weightless. So I was able to start kind of light running. But even at that, I'd spend an hour on that thing, and I'm only burning 500 calories. You know what I mean?
I've always wanted to try that thing.
Yeah. See, it's awesome, but
It looks so cool.
You don't lose a bunch of weight. And
Right.
then we moved in from that into the underwater treadmill. And burned low calories there. But I just got to the point where the first time I actually got to run freely was the day before weigh-ins.
Jeez.
The day before weigh-ins was the first time I got to run.
It still hurt, no?
Yeah, dude, it did not feel good. I was using a lot of lidocaine patches from the pharmacy and just on a lot of ibuprofen and stuff like that. And
A little bit of marijuana as well.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
you
not
can't.
in Nevada. Not in Nevada. CBD you can. Anything CBD you can use.
Why?
But
I thought you could.
when you're messing with a broken foot, it's going to take a little more than some of the devil's lettuce to ease the pain.
I thought it was 8 hours out.
Yeah. No, that's.
It can't be in your system 8 hours out. So if you smoke weed, everyone gets it out of their system differently.
Okay.
So
all right. I thought it was you couldn't smoke 8 hours out.
Because it's in your. How long is weed and marijuana in your system for?
Anywhere between 10 days to a month. Depends on how lean you are, how much you've been smoking, things like that.
Right. Eric, you ever smoke weed?
Oh, when I was young, yeah, like a champ.
Do you anymore?
Nah.
Mike, you want to tell him a little about the? We're talking to Austin a little bit about it. He's like, yeah, he's got some setup over there.
Yeah, being over in Washington State, it's legal over here, so it's just weed is it's just a predominant thing over here. There's a lot. My cousin, he has a big farm. A lot of my friends got big farms, big legal farms, obviously. And yeah, it's just I love traveling places. Like when I go to Vegas, which is now, with Washington, let me give you a little history on Washington. Medical marijuana had been legal here for a long time. So, the marijuana scene's been booming here for probably, it's right up there with the same time frame as California. It's been a booming thing over here, and so there's just a lot of farms, a lot of shops. My girlfriend, she owns a gardening store which sells all the nutrients and the soils and this and that for grows and stuff. So I have a lot of good cardinal knowledge.
So your girlfriend's like a scientist.
She is, dude. She's freaking awesome, dude. They do like consultations for people that help them like with their big farms and stuff, and I got a lot of good cardinal knowledge about the devil's lettuce.
So now, are you helping in the harvest, or are you more or less just smoking it?
I'm not. I recreationally use here and there. I got to tread lightly. I'm a wrestling coach. You know what I mean? I can't say too much, but it's. A lot of different products I use over here. You'd be surprised, man. There's so many different things, cooking butters and rub-on ointments and these and that. Like there's this one oil a lot of people don't know about called the Rick Simpson oil. That's the one that a lot of people have been using to help cure cancers and stuff. I've seen some people make that and heard a lot of people using it around here and stuff.
Didn't work.
You did? You gave it Rick Simpson oils?
Yeah, but my dog had lymphoma, so it didn't work. But the Rick Simpson oil gave my dog 2 more months of life. My dog had cancer, cachexia, with that thing where they don't eat because they have cancer. You get you kind of malnourish yourself. And CBD oil and THC oil is what made my dog start eating. And I tell people that all the time. So my old man, in 2012, he passed away from cancer, from a form of leukemia. And me and my family talk about it in hindsight, and it's like one of those things where, when someone's terminally ill with a cancer or something that's like, there's some cases where it's like you go in and it's like, you don't really got a shot in hell. Like, what would you rather do? Would you rather get hopped up on chemo and just slap medical bills onto your family's tab and just be miserable for your last days on this earth? Or would you rather go the natural route, Rick Simpson oil, THC, CBD oil, where you're going to enjoy your last little bits of time on earth without being drained from chemo and shit like that? I'm going the latter of the two. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather, have the munchies, still be eating, still, pretty much just spend the rest of my time on earth just lit.
And also your family's last, and your people that love you, their last memories of you would be you smiling and having a good time versus like you just hanging in there, and
you
like
just debilitated, just skin on bones from being stuffed full of chemicals and stuff like that. I'm not into it, dude. And being from Washington, I see it a lot. I see a lot of people, whether they're terminally ill or just battling like some type of stage 1, stage 2 cancer. And a lot of people are winning the natural way. You know what I mean? And it's cool to see that. It's, that's one thing I love about being from Washington is I got a lot of knowledge about this weed is just this alien plant. You got to think about it. Weed is this plant that can do so many things. Like there's not another plant on earth that can do as many things as what weed can do. Weed, you can take hemp and you can make material. You can make cloth. You can make medicine. You can make, you can make edibles that make you hallucinate. You can do weed. Where did weed come from? Where did this alien plant come from that can do all these crazy things? It's something that's really crazy to think about. This thing can help you cure cancer. You can make a t-shirt out of it. Like, what is this? Like, who put this here? This is crazy.
Oh, yeah. And the benefits for pain and, like, I've heard people talk about the benefits of CBD to head trauma.
Yeah.
Sure. You're into the CBD as well?
Oh, dude, yeah, absolutely. I'm into the CBD as well. It's funny, too, because, I coach high school wrestling. And right now we have this fucking vaping epidemic in school, in these high schools. Vaping epidemic. Everyone's in the bathroom with their jewels. They're smoking vape. You know what I mean? Not like weed, not just weed vape. They're just smoking vape. Like the bubble gum drops, whatever. You know what I mean? They're smoking vape.
Bunch of losers, right?
You can't even say smoking vape. How do you smoke vape? Smoking and vaporizing are 2 different things. I sound like an idiot. Anyways, but in terms of CBD, I do have I have a pure CBD cartridge, which is just CBD. There's no THC. It doesn't get you high or nothing. But I have a cartridge. You know, I'm vaping CBD because it has. It's like a 31. I saw this on Hans Mollenkamp. It's it works for Monster Energy. Or actually, he owns Monster Energy. Hans Mollenkamp posted the thing saying that he vapes his CBD because it's got like a 31% rate of like acting faster. You know what I mean? Like sometimes if you eat like a CBD gummy, it takes like 45 minutes to an hour to kick in or something like that. But like when you vape CBD and it goes in through your respiratory system, it works at a much faster rate. And I guess like that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, I take CBD gummies before I go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently there's a lot of studies that are being done now that are saying that CBD is having positive effects on like football players with brain trauma.
Yeah.
You know, and shit like that. So they gotta keep studying that.
Dude, that doesn't surprise me at all. On a side note, I mean, I know it's not CBD, but I also heard that creatine helps with brain trauma.
Yeah.
Whether it's preventing it or
It's good for your brain.
I don't think it's a healing thing, but I think creatine is like good for the brain in terms of like taking brain trauma.
It is.
So now I put creatine on my pancakes. I put creatine in my coffee. No, I'm just kidding. I do a little creatine, little CBD combo. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'll be vaporizing my CBD pen, smoking some creatine. You know.
And creatine's the only supplement that's been proven to increase your strength.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like the
Warms
only
the muscle.
supplement that's actually scientifically proven to do anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Mike.
crazy.
So we want to thank you for joining us. You got this fight coming up December 29th. Carlos Condit. Do us a favor, let our following know how they could find you.
Or don't.
Or don't. Did we lose him?
Hello?
You hear?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, we lost you for a second.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Houston, we have a problem. I'm just kidding.
Oh.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at MikeNav22. Same thing with like my Facebook. I just want to thank my manager, Daniel Rubenstein, on it, Nike Wrestling, and Hyperfly.
Oh yeah, Daniel.
And my mom.
Daniel Rubenstein's the man. Oh yeah, and you got to thank your mom, right? Nobody talks about Michael Chiesa's mom.
No one talks about my fucking mom.
That's right. Don't you talk about my mom.
No.
I love
one
that.
talks about my
And
mom.
now let's just go back in time. He wasn't really saying anything bad. He was just saying about your mom. He said your mom will have tickets to the fight, right? Wasn't that what he actually said?
You know, in hindsight, yeah, but let's be honest. Kevin's a jerk, so anytime, you know, I'm not really listening to anything he's saying, but the second I hear mom, it's blackout mode. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna listen to what you have to say. The second you mutter the words mom, it's like,
Yeah.
you motherfucker.
Do
you
not.
motherfucker.
Hey, hang on, real quick. One last thing. Who do you have between that Kevin Lee and Iaquinta fight?
I'm definitely going to go with Al. I mean, here's the thing. Kevin's a beast. He's from the time Al was his debut fight in the UFC, and, you know, he's been surging, you know what I mean? He's had a couple hiccups to Tony Ferguson, and the Leo Santos fight was a total fluke. Other than that, I mean, Kevin's looked sensational. But, I mean, dude, Al's a beast. This guy stepped in on, like, 2 hours' notice and fought Khabib.
Yeah.
And took him 5 rounds and actually had good rounds against him. And, you know, I've trained with Al. I spent 3 months with him on the show. The dude's an animal. And the one thing he's got is he is a sharpshooter. Like, Al is he will get right in your face, and he will sit there and he can pinpoint a shot and put you out. And when he hurts guys, he just never lets them off the hook. And Kevin, I don't think Kevin's chinny, but I do think that Al's going to touch his chin, and he's going to give him wobbly legs. And Al's a dangerous guy. I think Al's one of the best finishers in the UFC. He's just a guy that he gets you hurt, and you're just done. You know what I mean? Al hurts you.
Yeah, he takes his time.
Exactly, and that's what makes him so dangerous. It's not like Al swarms you; he hurts you, and then he's gonna sit and wait for that opening again. And even if it takes, whether it's 1 second, 10 seconds, a minute, he'll wait for that closing shot. He's a dangerous guy, and I'm always pulling for him.
All right, so one more real quick, Mike. December 29th, who wins? Mike the Maverick Chiesa, Carlos Condit.
I'm gonna have to go with the first guy. I'm gonna have to go with Michael Chiesa. From what I hear, he's pretty well prepared. He's looking like he's ready to get a win in the win column again.
Love it. I'm excited for that fight, man. I'm excited for
fun.
you.
That one's gonna be fireworks.
I'm happy everything's going good for you. Mike's one of those guys. I met him. I'm like, you're awesome. You're a good dude, man.
I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you again for joining us, Mike. We'll have your buddy Austin on. Congratulations on his win last week. We're hopefully going to get him on next week. We'll get you on after this fight, December 29th. Thank you again for joining us.
Thanks, buddy. You guys have a good one.
All right, peace, bro.
Better.
Back to Eric.
Yo.
Mike the Maverick Chiesa. We went like pow, 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 pow.
Yeah, that was...
It worked out. Michael Chiesa was a surprise in that pow, 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 pow.
Yeah.
But yes, now we can jump back to Phuket Top Team coach. You used to coach at Alliance as well, right?
Yeah, well, I was a fighter at Alliance, and kind of was also moonlighting as doing a lot of the wrestling and grappling for the pro team.
Can we back up a little bit? Where did you start? Like, when did you know? Like, you know what? I want to start fucking people up.
Oh man, I liked fighting since I was like this big, man. My parents were too poor to afford martial arts, so I'd just go get in street fights. And yeah, I was fighting all the time, and I didn't really get to start training till my second year of high school. I was like, all right, I'm going to try wrestling out, and I got real good at it, but I wasn't real good at school, so I got sent to like a state institution, and I was in and out of like getting locked up all the time, and so my high school career didn't last very long, and I got back into wrestling once I stopped getting in trouble around 23, but around 20 I started trying to stop getting in trouble. I started to go into the city and wrestle with the Russians in Brooklyn, and just got real deep into Greco-Roman wrestling.
I feel like we skipped some things. So
Yeah.
you said you fought a lot. Can you give me one of your like high school or like give me one of your vicious street fighting stories?
Man, okay.
From start to finish.
Yeah,
Give me the whole thing.
One night I'm hanging out smoking blunts with some girls in a dead end, and some dude comes riding out in his truck and kind of starts scaring the girls a little bit. So the girl pulls away and he starts chasing us. So I got a girl
On
driving.
foot?
No,
Oh,
no,
the car.
we're in a car.
Oh,
so
wow.
the girl's driving while this big ass monster truck is following her around. We managed to lose him. We pull into a gas station, and the dude pulls in right after. So he gets out of the truck, and I just walked straight at him and mopped him.
No questions asked.
No questions asked. Just walked straight at him, hit him. He bounced off the truck, came back at me with his hand cocked. I just kind of changed levels and hit like a Zangief Street Fighter pile driver. Just like went in the air, inverted. On the way down, he tried to catch himself. He ended up with a compound fracture in his arm. The bone came out, and I just like that wasn't enough. I just started stomping him with my Timbs on, and yeah, my boy was like, "Yo, you better get out of here." And I was already going to court for an armed robbery. So and then I had that stacked on top of it, and
Yikes.
it wasn't a good time in my life.
Right. Man.
Oh, yeah, and I know Eric used to bounce. That's a bad combination. When you get a bouncer with a little chip on his shoulder and then you throw in he knows how to fight. 'Cause
Right.
Then it turns into like, oh, no. You had an altercation with this bouncer. Now the one who likes to fight is going to come fuck you up.
Because, I mean, Eric, you're a little, like, we're shorter guys growing up against bigger guys.
Yeah.
We're competitive. Like, we have a little bit of Napoleon syndrome. So, like, one thing when people tell me I can't do something, like, that's where you fucked up. 'Cause watch this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
100%. Yeah.
Especially you guys both are compact. So you're in, even when you guys fought, you're in like a weight class too, where you probably have the short arms. You've always, but
we
even,
got to grab a fool.
I'm
Gotta
saying,
get my
even-
hands on you.
Yeah.
Even in your fighting career to your adolescence to growing up, your fights were
Yeah, get your hands on
in
him.
tight, you know, yeah.
All right, so now you started wrestling. You're 23. You're training with some Russians in.
Yeah, and I had been wrestling there since I'm about 20. And then I would do real good, and then I would kind of fall off and like go back into the street for a little bit, and then I'd come back.
So now this is around what? Because I remember I met you probably 2003.
So I got out of the street 100% when I was 23. I probably had met you about maybe a year and a half, 2 years later.
Yeah.
Around 25.
Yeah, when I met you, you were like, I'm fighting. I want to be a fighter. I'm going to train. I'm
Yeah,
fighting.
and I knew like I wanted something to do with fight. Man, since I'm this big, like I saw like the Karate Kid in Bloodsport, I was like, that's what I want to do, you know?
Yeah, so like Eric was a guy who was older than me, that I was a kid in a room with men. I looked up to Eric. I looked up to all these guys that, you know, knew some shit that I saw had this thing in their head like, no, a job, no, I'm gonna fight people.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fight people for fucking money.
Yeah,
You know?
and there was no, at that time, there was no hopes of getting rich off this shit. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
now
If you can get by, you're like, that's
yeah.
dope.
If I can eat and fight, like, yo, I'll just bounce at night and fucking train all day. You know what I mean? Like that was really all I cared about. Like I just, I think man, now there's some guys that aren't so mean, but for me, like to truly be like a fighter. Because I talk about this often. That there's fighters, there's athletes, and there's martial artists.
Yeah.
And I think I developed into a martial artist later in life, but I was a fighter first. Like I like to hurt people.
You liked hurting people.
Yeah.
I was an athlete first.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. And you merged a little bit. You got a side in you though. You
got a
people
mean
little
streak
bit.
in you
Yeah,
for
Dennis
sure.
likes
Yeah,
hurting.
Well, it's I'm fighting someone, and in my head they're telling me, no, you can't. I'm like, no.
But even
I'm going
you
to.
have like a nice mean streak. Like I remember one time like you were on my back when I was exhausted, and you were like, I could face crank the shit out of you right now. You didn't do it, but he said.
It's a little rapey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, you're my training partner. I need you tomorrow.
Yeah.
I need you the next
Yeah,
day.
100%.
Young Eric
Yeah.
or Ricky would have face cranked the shit out of me and been like, learn how to defend your kid.
I was a real asshole training partner as a young guy, but I had no life skills, no coping skills, really like no parenting, like growing up. You know what I mean? So like I had like no. I didn't know how to treat people, and so I was like living and dying by whether I win or not in everything,
Right.
and it was really unhealthy. And I try to tell guys to look out for this. Like winning in the room don't mean shit. You know what I mean? There's a lot of dudes that win in the room, and they're bad motherfuckers, but they just can't do it when the lights come on. And
Right.
it's a really
When it
unhealthy-
matters.
Yeah, and it's a really unhealthy way to train.
Stan, I saw you raise your hand.
Yeah, I was one of those guys. I was good in the room and then trash in the.
It's too smart.
Yeah, I that's what I've always heard. That I process the consequences.
Yeah.
Like I think of the.
And there's ways around that. There's ways to train your brain around that.
You just need someone to smack you before you fight.
No, it takes a watchful eye to kind of guide you through that, and not every coach is able to deal with the psychological approach to the game.
Right.
And-
Everybody needs to be coached differently.
Yeah, 100%, man. I've guys from all over the world, all walks of life, and I can't train everybody like a drill sergeant asshole. I can't be too soft on some guys, and everybody needs something different. And some guys, what they need, I just can't give them. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I gotta have
You direct them somewhere
I'll
else.
just
Like
tell
he's
them,
good with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like 23, whatever you were, 2003, like that was a room of nomads.
Yeah.
Before the Ultimate Fighter, that was like you, Ricky, Space Monk. You guys were all like kind of before your time in a sense. Like when you guys were
Second
like,
generation.
yeah, like the hungriest you guys were. It's like there's no money in it.
No.
There's no real even.
No, dude, we were fighting in warehouses for free.
Even back then, there's still no path really for New York guys. And back then, there was no path for New York guys.
So LaFleur fought. I remember he was telling me his first few fights were like in like
Pennsylvania,
in
Delaware.
Atlantic City in like underground or no in the city like underground.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did you do that as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, before Ron.
He fought Frankie Edgar.
Yeah.
Frankie Edgar's like first fight.
It was an underground fight. That was not a professional fight.
Yeah, the underground.
Yeah, it was an underground combat league
Professional
fight.
rules. You guys were fighting.
Well, there was no rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That fight I remember was just fucking crazy. And to see what Frankie Edgar became after that, and even to see what you became, like you were always one of those pros that was just right on the cusp of,
Yeah, just and I like to talk about this a lot because it's was so fucked up. It took me a long time to like mentally like heal, and like stop living and dying by winning and losing, and man, that can cripple you if your identity's wrapped up in winning and losing, and like you're gonna carry that stress with you into the cage every time, and even you're going to carry that stress in the decision making of which fights to take and what risks to take. And man, sometimes you're not going to take risks that you should take because you want to
overcalculated almost.
You're overcalculated, and you want to keep your ego safe because you're living and dying on whether you're going to like yourself for the next couple of months or not. You know what I mean? That's a fucking heavy thing to deal with. I've been suicidal after losing fights before.
I've always said to people, especially from talking to a lot of my friends that have done this at the professional level, it's the loneliest sport in the world, and it's so crippling. Like people don't realize like how defaced you almost feel when you lose a fight, when in reality everyone respects you and they're like, oh, you did great, but you just think you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, and people can always tell you things, and until it becomes intrinsic and inside you, it doesn't matter, man. People can.
Well, the
give you
thing,
all the
like, who
compliments in
do
the
you say
world.
that with? You don't, even when you lose, you learn, and you go like, fuck
right.
that. I don't want to hear
Yeah.
that shit.
I'd rather win and not learn.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that shit.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all things people say and they mean well, and
Usually when people say that, they're not real fighters.
no.
It's like
You
they heard
win or
it,
you
they saw it in
learn.
a meme, like, dude, get away from me before I fucking.
Don't say that to me right after the fight.
Yeah.
Either, you know what I mean? Yeah, man, the mental aspect, and for me, is like really start to get into meditation and stuff, and really start to just kind of delve into like just all the fucked up shit I never dealt with, once I started sorting through that, man, I started really like coming into my own, and then I decided I didn't want to fight anymore.
Yeah.
So hang on, I think we skipped some things, right?
Yeah.
You were 23, you're
Yeah.
wrestling, and then what was like the first? You're in the room with killers, you're
Yeah.
training, and then like these guys started fighting, so you're like, I'm in.
Yeah, I just took
Well,
a fight.
You
with,
left pretty soon and went to Vegas, I remember.
Yeah,
back then.
after a couple of pro fights, so I ended up starting my career at like 2-2 or something like that, and took some fights against like two really good jiu-jitsu guys early, and I didn't know jiu-jitsu
Right.
at all, so it wasn't the smartest decisions in the world. And then won a couple of fights and moved out to Vegas. I shortly after training with Space Monkey, I was training with the D'Angelos.
Anthony.
Yeah, and then that kind of fell apart. Whatever was going on there.
Because those guys are all originally from Long Island.
Yes.
Anthony D'Angelo, was he in kickboxing before he got into MMA?
Anthony grew up in jiu-jitsu and kickboxing.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu and kickboxing.
And then he went MMA. He moved out to Las Vegas, and you followed him.
No,
out
he
there,
came out
or-
after me.
Anthony.
Okay.
Did Anthony move?
Yeah, he
lived
came out there
like
for a little
year,
while
yeah.
with his dad. They wanted to check out what's going on. That was after I had gone out
Got
there.
you. Okay.
And I
What
went out
made you
there.
decided to move out there?
I had met the guys from Cobra Kai when I went out to wrestle in the national championships for Greco-Roman, and so I got to train with Layman. My boy Ninja was training out there. He's a Marcelo Garcia black belt now. I think he has a gym out in Port Jeff, if I'm not mistaken. But I went to go kick it with him, and we're kind of like old street friends. And he let me stay at his apartment while I was out there wrestling. And so I was like, oh man, I met like Mayhem Miller at the time. He was still fighting, and like Dan Henderson. I was meeting all these fighters and stuff, and I was like, that seems to be the spot right now. So I just packed everything up, drove out to Vegas with like $1,500 to my name. Didn't have a job, didn't have nothing, and just kind of worked it all out.
Man. And then from Vegas, I know, how long were you there
Yeah,
for?
well, I was in Vegas for a few years, but I was at Cobra Kai for a year.
Were you coaching at Xtreme Couture too?
Yeah, I got
you
brought
were
over to
coaching there
Xtreme
too,
Couture,
yeah.
and had a few fights there, and that was great. And I'm still really good friends.
Working
with all
with,
the guys over
you were working with Randy.
Randy,
yeah.
Sean Tompkins was still alive at the time.
I remember having a
yeah.
conversation years ago about
Yeah.
with Randy about you, like
Yeah.
at fights. I'm like, oh, I know Eric Uresk
Yeah.
training. He's like, yeah, Eric's good. Eric's
Yeah.
good.
Sean Tompkins was the head coach at the time, and he passed away a couple of years ago. But so we had like all those. I mean, this was when Vegas
When
was the
Xtreme
place.
Couture was the place.
Yeah, man. Like any given day, you'd have Vanderlei, Vitor, Forrest, Tyson, Gray Maynard, Mike Pyle, Jay Huron. Man, Jay Huron. I'm cool with Jay now, but when I first met him, like he wouldn't even look at me or like give me the time. I figured like we'd have the common, like we're both from Long Island.
Right.
So, like, it took me about a good half a year of like being in there grinding before he would even say nothing to me. But he's a good dude. He's just
Oh, yeah, we've talked about Jay on the
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
One of the
he used to-
unheralded guys.
Yeah, he used to throw me some beatings. I thought he beat Ben Askren personally.
That's what we were
But,
talking about. How people
yeah.
say like, oh, Askren struggled with Jay Heron. Shut the fuck. You don't even know who the fuck Jay Heron.
Yeah,
Jay's good.
Jay was good, man.
Jay was underrated.
Jay was good.
Jay was good.
Jay was underrated, and Jay never really got his time to shine. And like, just
He had a couple of off nights that people
couple
kind of
off nights
glorified.
and some tough matchups getting brought into the UFC where they never really gave him like chance to get momentum. You know what I mean? Like
He was tested off the
Yeah,
bat.
here's GSP.
We gotta get him on the show.
Oh, he's a fucking character,
Yeah.
man. Jay's great.
Yeah.
So now from Xtreme Couture, did you go right from Xtreme Couture to
No, so
Alliance?
I came back out here, and I don't know. My life was like in a little bit of a just like limbo.
Is that when you were training with us for a little bit?
No. So,
That's much later.
Much
Much
later.
later, yeah.
Okay.
So I would be bouncing in the Hamptons every summer, and then save up some dough and go back. But really, what I was doing was fucking girls and stroking my ego every summer.
Right.
And then I go back out to Vegas where I was a nobody and fucking just train and had nothing really to do. So I would like
Living the dream.
yeah, of course,
Living the
kind of.
dream.
You know what I mean?
How old were you at that point?
So from like 25, 26 until about 28, 29, I was out in Vegas. Yeah, something like that. And then I was home. I got a call to if I want to go out to help BJ get ready for the Frankie Edgar rematch. And they're like, yeah, and you'll probably help out Dominic Cruz a little bit. So I'm like, fuck Dominic Cruz. Like, I want to go train with BJ. And I ended up going out to Alliance. So I just got the first plane ticket I could, went out to Alliance. The BJ thing never panned out, but I really liked the training vibe at Alliance. Like, it was cool, and I could see like Del Fiero. Like, I never heard of him before, but I could see this guy is a smart coach, and everybody did everything together as a team, and it was cool. So after like a few weeks of being there, I'm like, yo, can I stay here? And so I was living above the gym, and so I lived above the gym for about a year and a half with Danny Martinez, who was a UFC flyweight for a while, and
Who you're still really cool with.
yeah,
You
like my
cornered
brother.
Danny for all those fights,
cornered
right?
for all those fights, and so and then I was ended up making a pretty decent life there. I was there for about 4 years, and that's when I had come to train with you guys for a little bit. After from there, going out to Thailand to seek some opportunities, and then after my first,
Because you were with us for like 6 months.
yeah.
That might have been like the prime of. Well, no, Long Island is still kicking it, but like, you were around.
Well, it's one of those things.
You were in.
I didn't get to train with Eric like one time.
Yeah.
I trained with Eric years ago when I was a little kid, and then when you came back to the gym that day, I was dead. Like, I was dog shit. My ankle was the flare broke, like destroyed
Right.
my ankle. So I was taping it up and coming in for the rounds, and I was like, "Oh, Eric, let's go."
Yeah.
Not fun. Eric fucked me up. It was just like I had no guard. He was just passing my guard mount, and it was just him on top of me, just chest pressure. Just anytime he wanted to posture up, just grinding on my face, and I'd had no buck, no defense. So I was like, "This is fucking trash,"
Yeah.
And you got one of those styles, passing, pressure. So I didn't get to show you. I got pretty good over the 18
That's all I
years,
hear,
but
yeah.
Now, every time Eric comes to the room, he brings something.
Well,
He's
even-
teaching something cool where I'm like, ooh, I really like that.
I remember when Eric was there, I only got literally one chance to train with him, and then I fought, hurt, and then I knew after the fight I wasn't going to train or fight for a couple months because my shit was fucked up.
Right, because you were about to take a fight in the ring of combat while you were training with us, and then that.
Yeah, it just didn't pan out, and I ended up getting an opportunity to go out to England.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, and so I went out to England, and that just didn't work out. And I
You're
was
getting
like,
paid to coach, right? Pretty much, like,
coach, and they were supposed to set me up with like a bunch of like fights and stuff like that, and none of what was promised got delivered, which happens from time to time. But it is what it is. Sometimes I jump into things head first and probably shouldn't, but I don't care. I just make it work and adjust as things go on. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going back out to Thailand, and just kind of walk back in.
Well, back to Thailand. You had been there before coaching or there training?
Training and coaching. Yeah.
Same place?
Yeah.
Phuket
Phuket
Top Team?
And,
So then when you went back, you stepped into a bigger role? Or?
yeah, it just kind of happened, and I was getting ready for a fight, and the fight got canceled the week of.
A Thai fight? A Thai fight, right?
No.
Or
I
MMA?
fought a few times Muay Thai there, but an MMA fight. And so over my career, I've had about 7 years worth of fights canceled.
Yeah.
So 2 times for 2.5 years. That's 5 years total of back-to-back fights just getting canceled. Injuries before my Bellator debut, and I just couldn't, like, after that last one, I was just heartbroken. Like, I couldn't mentally, I knew I couldn't invest what it takes to train for a fight properly again. And I was 35 and I was at peace with myself. I was like, you know what, like, I didn't get to do maybe professionally what maybe I was capable of doing, but I became the martial artist that I wanted to become, and I was kind of content with myself. Like, the chip sort of fell off my shoulder about like needing to accomplish certain things to be all right with myself, and I was okay retiring, and I knew that that coaching was calling me, and I still fought Muay Thai like after that. Like, I still like to fight, but training for a professional MMA fight, it takes
a lot.
It takes extreme selfishness, and nothing else can really exist, and I just wasn't in a place where at that point in time where I was willing to invest what I know needs to be invested. There's guys that are happy to not train that way, and more power to them. I can't do that, man. I think if you
Well, it's that pride that you're putting on the line.
Yeah,
It's
man.
not the money. It's not. It's
Nah.
like the pride and like I'm gonna do everything in my power
Yeah.
to win.
Yeah, I never fought for money. You know what I mean?
Right.
Ever. You know, it wasn't really
That
about
was
that.
a perk. That was
That's
cool.
a
I'm
perk.
getting paid
yeah,
for
I'm
this.
getting paid for this. Dope. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was just like, and I knew I'd be a really good coach at some point in time. I had a good feeling. Like guys would always kind of put me in a leadership position wherever I went, and I didn't like go out seeking to do that. It just kind of fall into it, you know. And so yeah, that's it, man. Like last year we had 3 major titles and come out of our gym and in major organizations, 1 championship in Bama in the UK, and you know, I've got guys flying in to train with me from all over the world. You got high-level UFC guys, Bellator, ACB. Some of those guys are really, really tough. Shows, 1 championship, and shows
Oh yeah,
all over the
one's
world.
doing big things now.
Yeah, they are. They are doing big things.
Just name drop a little bit. Who's coming to train with you?
So Paul Daly was just out with me for a couple weeks, and that was cool. I have James Vick comes out to train with me pretty often. I think he's actually going to be there when I get back. He's looking to get together. Bellator just signed Terry Brazier, who is tearing up the UK scene. He won belts in 2 weight divisions, so he's a major signing, and they've put quite a bit into him. So they're hoping to get big things out of him.
Bellator's making some quiet moves.
Brendan Laughlin is one of my guys. He trains with me and at Alliance MMA also. He may be jumping into a last-minute UFC fight soon, very, very soon. So we hope that he gets that fight. And he's probably the best featherweight in the UK. Not just in Europe right now. He's probably the best featherweight in Europe. So we're hoping to get big things out of him. We have Vitaly Bigdash, who is the 1 championship middleweight champion for quite a while, and he should be back in the hunt for that belt soon. Yeah, we get guys coming from all over. I probably missed a ton of people, but
Right.
yeah, I have so many guys that I have guys that come to do camps with me. I have guys that live and stay with me.
Yeah, because you came, you trained with us, and you left your impact. I'm like, dude, love this guy. So I started following you on social media, and it seemed like anywhere you went, like you're running these like high level, like with like UFC stars practices. I'm like, damn, my man is like a G. Like back at Alliance, if you're in there for a week, you're running the practice for a week. If you go, wherever you go, it seems like, hey, like, dude, get in here. Show us some shit. You know?
I love coaching, and I like coaching to guys that appreciate it. You know what I mean? So when you get a new group of people, and like sometimes when you have the same thing all the time, even if it's good stuff, you take it for granted. You know? So when I get in front of a new room, that shit just lights me up, because like the people, like they're so eager to kind of see your take or your philosophy on training and fighting all together, and it really excites me. Like I really like working with people that are appreciative, you know what I mean, and like people that are stoked on the information that you're giving them.
Yeah.
That shit fires me up.
Yeah.
You know.
So you know how when you train, your whole life, and you're training with all these different coaches, you obviously look up to a coach. You try to emulate your coaching after somebody.
Yeah.
Who was that guy for you?
So I've been really fortunate, man. I've had some wizards as coaches. So my original wrestling coach was Yuri Volensky. He's an old Russian Jewish guy that lives down in Brighton Beach, Brooklyn. He had coached some Soviet Union Olympic champions in the late 70s, and then had emigrated here. So his technique and training was of the highest caliber. I had Sean Tompkins, who produced some really, really good fighters. Probably the most influential on me is Eric Del Fiero. He's really one of the best game planners that I've ever met. And he's really good technically as well, but his game planning and his mindset and the way he digs into the psychology of things is really impressive. And then on the grappling end, Neil Melanson's had a huge influence on me. I've gotten to train with him both at Xtreme Couture and Alliance, and just his sort of philosophy of brutality.
I was gonna say I heard he's pretty brutal.
Yeah, and
like we'll break that.
Yeah.
His style is very vicious.
Yeah, and I dig that, and I think for a fight that's really important, And over the last couple of years, I've gotten more and more into BJJ, and because I'll still compete in that now, and so I'm sort of evolving with all that stuff, and I try to take from wherever I can. Training for a few Muay Thai fights, you get a good sort of perspective on pure striking and fighting in pure striking, and how I can take that stuff into it and give it to my athletes.
I think Del Fiero is one of those guys, very underrated.
Yeah, if you sit and talk with him, man, he's told me things that have gone on in corners and adjustments that he's made, and it's like, damn, I got so far to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that kind of like technically, like on a technical level, like I'm pretty. I know I can get better, but I'm very happy with where I'm at technically. Some of the things he does on the psychological end, like it's really motivating and influencing on me to.
Man, I want to talk with this
Which
guy.
I'm sure
Yeah.
you two know, being in the cage at
Yeah.
the professional level, psychological is
Yeah.
the fight. That's the
Yeah.
fight, you know? Like a lot of it's physical,
Yeah.
yes, but
Eric's not a fame hound, so you won't see a lot of like tape or film on him like talking at all because he's kind of like pretty reserved and laid back. But
Right.
fuck, man, so a couple times like you hear about rappers like ripping up their rhyme book after they hear somebody like spit a dope verse or something like that. Like that's how I feel sometimes after he tells me like post fight like adjustments that he had to make or things that went on in the corner. I'm like, fuck, that's brilliant. Like I would have never thought
like
of
I'm
that.
sure you had those days in the beginning, and you too. Like I remember when I was in Florida at the American Top Team, and just like I would go into classes, even days at Lima, like you just have a shitty day and you get fucked up by good guys that you leave and you literally like throw your gym bag in the car like fuck this shit, fucking, and then you come back down a little bit and you're like, all right, it wasn't that bad of a day. I gotta take down.
Yeah, but it's good to know that there's levels to reach, man. You know, I haven't been at this too long, head coaching, and it's been about 2 years now, a little over 2 years maybe, and things are going well, man. I'm enjoying the ride and just constantly evolving my approach and my philosophy, and I'm starting to see like, oh shit, my shit works. You know what I mean? And like guys that I respect as fighters and even coaches, like they like my stuff too. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh wow, like it's weird because you're doing the stuff in the room every day and you're going through it, but then when you kind of actually see people employing it like or while you're in the corner, but it's even crazier when it's live on TV. Like if I've worked with a guy but I don't go corner him and then I watch him employ the stuff that I know I've worked on him.
Oh,
with,
you're definitely gonna see me do my shit. That shit.
Yeah.
We went over like just cutting different angles instead of like, cause I'm like a bull, like like how Eric grapples with you, right? Constant pressure, and I'll do that right into the guy. He's like, "No, man, sidestep and come with your pressure, different angle." I'm like, "Ooh,
game changers, yeah."
I think so. And obviously today was my first day kind of working it with that mindset because I think I've done it before, like not even knowing
you guys
I was
worked out earlier
yeah,
today?
Yeah,
we trained this morning.
Yeah, that's why I was like, he was leaving. I'm like, Eric, you want to come on the podcast? Because you got some good shit,
Yeah. How was that? Was there a pro class this morning? Any guys or just you two?
No,
Yeah, it was
Group of guys?
little group of guys, like 6-7 guys, but we had a good time, man. We didn't kill ourselves. We kept it at like 70% in the live rounds, and I think we all got something more out of it than just trying to
a little more personal attention on technique and those classes are really good when you get to actually fine tune things and you get the small group where it's not the meat grinder of
Well,
cardio.
I mean, Eric's been around the block, and he was saying it today. It's like we had this mentality, like this wrestling mentality, like go hard, crush it, like tear yourself apart. Where it's like it doesn't have to be that,
No.
And I'm like, yeah, I like that.
Oh yeah.
And
even Eric for coaching, like you brushed elbows with the who's who, so you probably have little snippets that you take
I steal from everybody.
and the everybody is UFC champion, UFC fighter, Bellator fighter, this guy, and they're all people that are like, all right, that's worth something to steal, that's worth something to steal.
Always.
So when you add it all together, you get a coach like you that's, I'm sure in the next couple of years, you're still young. How old are you? Like
37.
You're young, so for your coaching, I'm sure by the time you're 40, 45, who knows where you're going to be.
Yeah, and I think too, once I kind of stopped competing and training so hard, like I'm still training 2-a-days, because I'm just not ready to stop that yet, and I still can. So, and I think in the long run, I'm gonna gain more knowledge that way. I'll be able to kind of devote more time to the fighters.
All right.
So I was having lunch with Hugh McKenna. He was in the room today, and
you know Hugh? You met Hugh?
Yeah. And we were talking about like psychopaths and being a sociopath and stuff like that. And my girl had someone at work. She's like, I think she's a psychopath, And they started looking. And he walked out of the room, and they started looking up like questions to ask a psychopath. And like one of them is like, do you ever feel like a psychopath? And so when he came back to the room, one of the girls was like, do you ever feel like a psychopath? And they're like, dude, like, we were going to ask him, like, smaller questions and work up to that, And then so I was telling Hugh that, and then I was at dinner with my girl last night, and she started asking me, like, she, like, looked up online, like, some questions, like, if you're a psychopath or not.
Sociopath. Psychopath or sociopath?
Difference.
There is a difference.
Big
And a psychopath is, he doesn't have feelings, correct?
That's a sociopath.
Sociopath. Eric is a sociopath.
No. A sociopath is they have feelings, but they can like just turn it on and off.
Yeah.
A psychopath is just like, no, like I don't care.
Yeah, I don't think anything normal registers to them at all.
And so we're going through the list of things, and like I'm like, that's me. That it's yes, that's definitely me. That's somewhat me. No, definitely not me.
That's probably a lot of lists though.
Yeah. And I was like, definitely me, somewhat me. And then towards the end, I like redeemed myself. We're like, no, definitely not me.
Yeah.
So it read 1 to 12 is like not a psychopath. 12 to 15 are like semi, like yeah, you're on the spectrum. And then 15 to 18 is like, yeah, you're a psychopath. And I got 11. I'm like, oof.
Ooh.
Yeah, but like
You're fucking crazy though. You fight for a living.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So
Fucking crazy.
hang on. So so where I'm going with this is me and Hugh were talking about like just crazy thoughts that go through our head. Like I remember I was in college. I was running. We were warming up, and my coach was taking a knee, and I was like, if I crow hopped him, like what would happen? Like would he be knocked out? Would he get up? Would it be a fist fight between me and him? Would other wrestlers chase me? Like do these questions ever like? We're definitely changing topics right now.
Yeah. Well, if I was,
This is a little funner.
Well, what I'm getting from you're saying is sizing up the room. Is that what you're saying, or you're talking about just
No,
running up
just crazy. Like
Yeah.
Hugh, like he lives in the city. He's like, man, like I could push. Like, what would happen if I push this guy off the tracks onto the tracks? You get hit by.
Yeah.
Do you have these thoughts?
yeah, like sometimes you ever see? I always think like
You're
it'd be so
definitely a
funny.
sicko.
Yeah. I think it'd be so funny. Like if I saw this in a movie, like in real life, I think it was terrible. But if I just ran up and cold cocked like an old lady, you know what I mean? Just like pushing a grocery cart. Like in a movie, that'd be hilarious.
Well, I've never
Yeah.
had like a crazy thought about like an old lady. It's always like something that would be like a challenge for me. Like if I was at the zoo, like man, if I jumped over here and went into the tiger exhibit, like would I survive?
That's the shit you spend your time thinking
Well,
about?
no, hang on. I don't even go out of my way to think about it. It just pops in there.
Just pops in.
Well, I don't think that's psychopathic. I think that's
Yeah.
a what if. You know what I mean? Like
That's actually imagination, I would say.
yeah. That's just being imaginative.
I don't. Yeah, but there's a little bit like a psychopath.
No. I
You
think
just-
that's pretty.
yeah,
I think
you
it's
just
just
have
kind
a
of like
crazy
a
imagination.
childlike imagination. You know what I mean? Like what if? What would happen? I think more like if you were having homicidal fantasies, that would be different.
That would be a problem.
Hang on. So with you today, I was like, man, like growing up, I've always wanted my house to burn down and like me get out. Like I think I would survive that. You know what I mean?
Probably.
Hugh goes, I've thought about how I could trap everybody in the house and then burn the house down.
Oh my goodness.
I would suspect Hugh more of a candidate to be a psychopath than you,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And Hugh's dad's nuts.
Yeah. Hugh would tell me some of the things that
Yeah.
his dad has done. And like my dad would like, I think I am the way I am because like, what'd you do, son? Like,
Oh yeah. One night I came home wasted, and
how old are you?
man, I might have been 18.
Okay.
Wasted. I was on all kinds of drugs and God knows what, but pretty much blacked out. Walked in the living room, so my mom's sleeping on the couch, and I basically just missed pissing on her head by like this much in the living room. And,
By an inch.
by inches. She's like, wakes up like, what are
She
you
definitely
doing?
got some splash.
Possibly. I wish for the story's sake I did piss on her, but fucking because it would be way funnier, but I didn't. And my dad came out of the room, spear tackled me, basically full mounted me, and just like turned my face into hamburger meat.
Damn.
Yeah,
No
that
good.
sucked.
You guys don't have any like crazy like
I got crazy stories like that I can go for hours,
about what?
Just crazy family stories. Like my immediate family was good, like my mom and dad were good, but my whole family is fucking crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
my
just
family's so
drugs,
degenerative.
fights. So like when I was a little kid, like my mom and dad, not knowing how fucked up and crazy the side of the family was, because a little bit naive or whatever, they would drop me off for like play dates, and it would be like, okay, they would think my aunt and uncle would be watching me or something like that. No, it was me and my cousin like running around where there was cocaine over here, fucking drawer full of money, like just crazy shit, Like I've seen bloodbath. I've been 8 years old, 10 years old, and I've seen bloodbath fist fights where I've stood there with my arms crossed, like, oh shit, this shit's getting serious. You know, and I'm 8 years old, 10
Somebody
years
ought
old.
to break this up.
Literally,
But not me.
literally, me and my other like 13-year-old cousin being like, should we do something? What are we gonna do? You know?
Right.
I've even been in situations where I was telling my sister this story today, and she was like, "That happened?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't fucking glorify it." My uncle was a drug addict one time. My cousin called me up and was like, just called me up screaming, like, "They're killing each other. Get here now." I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, who's killing each other?" So my uncle and his jailhouse buddy were having a fight to the death in the house, breaking up the whole house. So I just fucking drove around the block, got there, walked in. The house was getting broken up. I was like, "Justin, what the and Justin standing there like, do something, do something." I'm like, "Justin, what the fuck you doing? Fuck him up." I just jumped on the guy's back, fucking threw in the fucking choke. Big motherfucker.
The jailhouse buddy.
The jailhouse. He was on top of my Uncle Philip, like fucking choking him, like getting the better of him.
Right.
Surprisingly, my Uncle Philip could
How
fight.
old are you?
Old. I was like 21, 22 at the
Okay.
time. Probably maybe 20, yeah, probably like 21, 22. Jumped on his back, threw a rear naked choke him, was just like, I think he even went to like fight my hand, switched to a short choke, put him to sleep. Got off, got my Uncle Philip up, my Uncle Philip started hitting the guy, woke the guy up from hitting him. And he was like, stop, I'm good, I'm sorry. And then they did like a, why'd you fuck with me, let's clean this place up. And me and my cousin Justin were like, what the fuck just happened? Like, what
Jesus
the
Christ.
fuck? I walked in, fight to the death. This guy's going to kill my uncle. You know what I mean? Woke up from a sleep and was like, "Ooh."
You know what's so crazy? Like, whenever fights break out in front of me, like, I, like, somewhat, like, freeze up. Like, do I do anything? Like, I just, like, I actually, like, freeze up and just watch it. Like,
I'm sure Eric's like me when a brawl breaks
he's
out.
actually a bouncer.
Yeah.
He's got that bounce. Hang on. So...
Well, your head goes on a swivel and you start looking.
Yeah, even when I go out to this day, if I go out, I'm always checking the room.
So, a quick story about my one night as a bouncer. My older brother lived above a bar, right? And there's this, my brother's best friend's younger brother, who's a little older than me, who's my brother's friend too. We're all friends. He's on steroids and shit like that. He's like, yeah, I'm fucking jacked. And he's like, you wrestle, huh? I was like, yeah. He's like, I wanna. He started doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He's like, you want to do a few rounds with you? I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, nah, I want to do a few. And we had a few drinks. Like, I'm gonna do a few rounds with you. I'm like, no, man. Like, I don't want to. Like, we're drinking. Like, no. Doesn't stop. Just like whatever. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. Shirt off. And we're in my brother's apartment above the bar. And so it's my brother's apartment, the bar owner's apartment, and then the bar. The bar is closed. It's after the bar shut down. So it's, 3 o'clock in the morning. So, like, just off of wrestling alone, like, double leg, took him down, like, I don't know, full Nelson, like, whatever, like, like, I tapped him out. He's like, no, let's go again. Like, dude, like, I just beat you. Like, stop. Yeah. Like, no. So, like, fucking another double leg, like, take his back, choke him out. And I just know wrestling. And, like, I watched WWF, So the bar owner comes upstairs, who's, like, a friend, like, what's going on up here? And my brother's like, dude, Dennis just fucked up Sal. And he's like, oh, yeah? So he's like, Dennis, like, you want to bounce? I'm like, okay, So... The next night, now I'm a bouncer, and these guys come in a little sketch, Like let me see your ID. Like, let me see your ID. I'm like, I'm the bouncer. Like, yeah, whatever. Because I'm short. So the guy walks in. Sure enough, these guys become a problem. They start like fighting outside the bar. So to me, I'm like, they're not in the bar. I don't have to do anything about it. Like the bartender like jumps over the bar like thing and like goes out there and like breaks it up. And I was just like...
The bartender did your job.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it started going down, and I, like, kind of froze up, like, and in my head, I rationalized it, like, they're not in... No one's saying go out there and break it up, and they're not in the bar.
All those dudes would have got slayed.
You would have been, like, out the door, someone's getting launched.
People.
The Neptune's parking lot, those guys would have got slayed. Yeah. They would have got made an example.
Well, it's like, it's knowing... where the property ends and like if you're responsible for them being on the property and that going on.
So there's a bar, the sidewalk in front of the door. That
might be depending on the laws wherever you're at. Yeah, that might be
upstate New York. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be up to you there.
That's what I was thinking. Like, whatever, fuck it.
Well, no, like on you to like that would be the bar would be liable.
Okay.
Yeah, and so
especially because they were drinking inside the bar.
Yes, exactly. So my job is to make sure that the bar doesn't become liable for anything.
Right. Now, when you were bouncing, at the time, did you drink?
No, I haven't drank since 2004. 4.
So like when you got off the streets, you cut everything out.
I had to. I was
Got
gonna
you.
die. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
I know. I told Dennis earlier. He was like, "Should we get some beers?" I was like, "No, he's sober. Trust me, I've been there. I've been that dick who offered him 10 drinks."
But I don't care. Like I'm a huge marijuana advocate. Like I'm all about it. Like do drugs, drink,
And
do
right
whatever
when
you
I
wanna
sent
do.
Dennis that text, Dennis texted me back. I just offered him beer. I just was like, "Let's drink," you know.
I didn't say let's drink. I just
Oh,
said
whatever, yeah,
I said
we'll
I
bring
will
beers.
pick some up.
Yeah, but no, it's whatever to me. I prefer people just do what they
So while
enjoy.
you were bouncing, like you were like
dead sober, making horrible decisions. Yeah. Yeah. No
now
excuse.
the scene, because I mean, like being from upstate and like hearing about like Neptunes and what's it, Barney Barn? Or
Bordy Barn.
That would be the
Bordy
name
Barn.
of this podcast. Making horrible, dead sober, making horrible decisions.
What like describe that scene to people that aren't
show.
from Long Island or don't know about that.
Two completely
Out
different
in the
scenes.
Hamptons, right?
Yeah. So the Bordy Barn is people that don't like to go to clubs, right? Okay, but they like to go to bars. Now this is a bar on steroids where you can buy beers for $1 for half the day, and then it goes up to $2 at the second half when they ring a bell. But it's dirt cheap, and there's these little keg keg cups of beer. So you're knocking them down. And back in the day, you used to be able to throw beer on people and like Then they kind of cut down the drink throwing and stuff. I drove home from there when I was like 21 one time, like not a good idea. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how I made it home, but yeah, just an insane place. Everybody's singing like bar songs, Sweet Caroline, shit like. It's a good time. Do not go there sober. You'll have the worst fucking time of your
And I was
life.
also told do not go there like with like nice
No,
clothes
hell
on.
no.
Like
No,
it
you go
gets
there
muddy,
in-
right?
Now Neptune's on the other end is people that
That's where all the Guidos go.
Guidos, nightclub enthusiasts.
It's the Jersey Shore. No, like I mean,
half,
the people from
half the crowd would be that. The other half of the crowd would be people that enjoy like
House
deep
music.
house and house music, and so you'll have the Guidos and then a little bit more of the
Steroided
higher,
out.
yeah,
Shirts off.
the biggest people you've ever seen
and
in your
then the
life.
girls with the fake boobs and
Hot.
like the smallest like bikinis they could wear.
Yes, it was awesome.
I mean, I think I heard that and I was like, I want to go.
Yeah, fuck yeah. No, it was great. I got way more pussy than I deserved just from wearing a yellow
The
tank top.
highlight of Neptune's was a little bit before my time.
Yeah.
But I always heard like amazing things, and then by the time I got old enough to go, it was like watered down version on
Right.
its way out.
Right,
you know,
and
so-
you were a bouncer there when it was in its.
I got the last good years
Okay.
out of it. The last good years, and then I left when it was just on its way
Now,
down.
were you a head bouncer?
No, but I kind of I was up there. I would run nights and stuff like that, but I wasn't the head guy. The head guy was this guy Timmy Sadowski, and I think the statute of limitations is pretty much up on a lot of the stuff that went on there, so I can talk freely about what happened. But it was crazy. Like when I left to go out to San Diego, but like, man, we were being investigated for like obstruction of like government investigations because they were Southampton wanted to shut those clubs down so bad. They were sending undercovers in, and I was pointing out the undercovers, and which it was in the best interest of the club, but they were not happy about it. So they started running investigations on me, just waiting to catch me like slip up and hit somebody in a parking lot or something like that. And yeah, it was fucking crazy, dude. It stopped being fun at that point. Like before that, we could get away with pretty much anything.
Just power bombs.
So yeah, because in a lot of the worlds, like the bouncers don't run the club, right? The bouncers work for the club, and then you're basically there like holding doors. You're in like a service industry. In New York, you're paid to be intimidating and handle shit. So it was a completely different job to say when I worked in Vegas as a door guy. Like that sucked, dude. You had to be polite to everybody and like hold doors. It was horrible.
Right.
You know what I mean? But here you're like a superhero.
Right.
Like, you're running the whole inner workings of the club. So we were getting away with murder. Yeah, it was fucked up. I'm going to put it in a book someday.
What do you? Oh, you definitely have to write a book.
Yeah, at some point.
You have great stories. I think from like your upbringing to training and fighting to bouncing to coaching.
Yeah.
I think you
Oh,
have.
well, that's like I said. Eric's another one of our guests that we could probably do just a show, just talking history with Eric.
Yeah.
That's why I got. Love Mike. We could have talked to Mike longer, but I'm like, Eric's here. We need to fucking.
Mike surprised us with that one.
We need to cash out on Eric right now.
Oh, yeah. Mike's surprised with that one. But the good thing about Eric is Eric's one of those guys that we know that we could probably call Eric next week and he'll come on the show.
Yeah.
you know?
If I'm around, man, I enjoy doing this stuff. I want to start getting into podcasting myself. It's like one of my passions is like how these ideas get spread, and it's just an awesome format that's been
Oh,
coming
yeah,
out.
what we got to do is me and Dennis want to eventually take our show on the road. We got to plan a trip to Thailand and do Menace and the Man from Phuket Top Team.
Yeah, if Menace the Man starts making that kind of money where we're playing,
We'll get there. We'll get there.
I'm in.
In time. In
It's
time.
a good format. Yeah.
In time.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
get there. We just got to keep putting them out there, you know?
That's it.
Oh yeah.
What are we up to? What is this?
This is number 5.
Episode
Oh
5?
man, yeah.
Episode
Just
5.
keep doing what you're doing. You guys have good guests on. You know what I mean? So
Fire guest. This one, so last week, CERN called it an action-packed podcast, and I loved hearing that, and I was like, it was a fucking action-packed podcast. This week, fuck that podcast up.
Sandbag
Yeah.
and Serm.
Yeah. Sandbag and CERN, absolutely.
I don't feel like I was as funny in this podcast. I mean, we talked to a lot of people about business. And fighting.
We got down to
and
business. We got some life, too.
And you know what, Stan? I actually want to apologize. Last week, I feel like in the beginning, right? I was mean. I was lighting your ass up. I re-listened to it. It's like, hang on.
You're always kind of mean, but that's kind of like our rapport, you know? Similar to even like mine and LaFlair's. It's a little bit give and take, you know? You got to eat some shit sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Oh, no, I mean, we're buddies. And like, if I can't make fun of you, we can't be friends.
Yeah, we can't be friends.
Yeah, we're not even
I was just.
And I expect to be made fun of.
If you're too soft that you
Yeah,
can't take it,
I was just
don't even
reading
wanna
some
know you.
science behind why men do that with each other, right?
Okay.
And it's not because we don't want to avoid like intimacy with each other. What it is to make sure that nobody in the group, because dating back to when we were like foraging and egalitarian societies, that nobody in the group gets too big above the group. So anybody that thinks they're getting too big, your boy's got to knock you down a little bit, because nobody can get their head so big that they're going to get more food than everybody else.
Right.
Oh, so Dennis, that's what it is. Subconsciously, Dennis thinks I'm getting all cocky and shit. He's ready
Well,
to...
I mean, you're already 240. I don't want to get any bigger with all the
I'm
food.
fat. I don't have an inflated ego. I'm just fat.
Well, I'm just making sure your
I
ego
weigh
and
I
your
weigh
eating don't
230
get
now.
too out of hand.
Like the last time we trained, last time you saw me at Lima, I weighed 176. Then I broke my leg training with Gotti, 50 pounds. I weigh 230 now, heavyweight.
What are you going to do about that?
I gotta get
He's
back
okay
to
with
training.
it, he
No,
said.
I gotta get back to training. You know.
He's going to keep eating double gulps.
Have you
from
had any injuries
drinking-
really through your career?
Nerve damage.
No surgeries though,
No
right?
surgeries though.
I had to get the surgery. I had to get the plates, and I have like 16
That's
screws.
fucked up,
So
man.
what it is, I gotta avoid the risk of infection. So I gotta get all
No,
that metal
you know
out.
what it is. You got to stop drinking double gulps.
Well, I'm talking about
from 7-Eleven.
what I'm gonna do about the weight is gonna.
Yeah,
I gotta
the-
get
the double gulps
yeah, but I
from
gotta get back to-
7-Eleven
I gotta get
are
back
not
to training.
helping.
Main thing is gotta get back to training.
But he's kind of right about the double goal.
Oh, absolutely. But I need the double gulps.
Oh, man, that's like 70 grams of sugar.
I gotta go with Dr.
Syrup.
Pepper. We're gonna hopefully get Dr. Pepper as a sponsor one day.
I don't want that because they're going to send us free Dr. Pepper, and I don't like Dr.
Yeah.
Pepper.
What if they go monetary and they send us money? You'll like that.
Yes, I will. Dr. Pepper, you guys are gold.
Yeah.
All right, so episode 5, Menace and the Man. Where can people find you, Eric? You're definitely one of those guys that I think everyone should follow. That you can learn wrestling, you can get some philosophy on life.
Sure. Eric the Gentleman on Instagram is probably the best way to check me out. I don't really fuck with Twitter too much. Like I have a Twitter, but I don't really use that shit too much. That's the best way to follow me. I'm always putting up all kinds of different information and things like that, and should be putting out even more material, more video stuff, more content, and hopefully be getting into a little bit more podcast. You could also check out my YouTube channel, Eric Uresk Submission Grappling, if you want detailed breakdowns that I actually shoot in my classes. So you'll basically get good video of me in class breaking things down that I like to teach, and always putting up content there.
Killing game.
Yeah,
What's
I
going
like
on
it.
with you, Dennis? How was your week? Any training?
This past I've been training. But this past weekend, I went upstate. Me and my family have a Thanksgiving because life happens. You get older, you start having kids, significant others, and it's hard to get the core family together for Thanksgiving. And so we decided like, hey, the weekend before Thanksgiving, we'll always get together, and that's gonna be our thing. And then on Thanksgiving, go wherever you want. You come back here if you want to. So I
That's a
did
good
that.
thing. So what, you were upstate this weekend?
Yeah. And then, now I'm training a little bit and doing the podcast and hanging out with Eric.
Making a gold show right here. So we'll get this show out for everybody. Hope you guys enjoy. Menace and the Man, episode 5. We'll see you guys next week for episode 6.
Right.
Well, see you later.